could ever die.
And this monster starts running right at me.
Annihilated by nuclear bombs.
Beast is not dead. I put 4 bullets into him.
Oh, you're crazy.
But I saw that monster too. All I want is for someone to believe me.
Contaminated.
Face. Horrible. Looked like it would scare you to death.
All right, let's get to work.
Hello friends. Wow, yeah, this is way off. We're here. Hold, please. I'm making some last minute adjustments.
Oh, is it because I'm not on?
Yeah, but I can fix it. Hold on. Oh wait, that's 2, so that should be right. Why isn't that right?
I can just turn mine on if that'll fix it.
You know what? Before we go any further, let's. I wanted to say that we're doing. Part of my face is cut off here. We're doing a live debut of Aeon's new setup. Yeah, I feel ridiculous peeking over my own background here. So I'm like looking at the screen to the side. It's like right here, the bottom of the background. So we're gonna do
Nice.
a live debut, and hopefully this won't mess up too much stuff. Him coming in after we started the stream, but do you have anything you want to say before you do your debut, sir?
Just that you won't know that I'm broke, but there will be signs.
Oh shit! All right, let's see it. Bring it up, man. Bring it up.
All right. Bing.
There you are.
Hello.
Okay, hold on. I got to recenter. I don't know why I got off center. Awesome. Whoa, look at it. This looks awesome.
Yes.
This looks awesome. Look at
Yes.
this.
It's
Yeah,
all
you're
the
right.
things. And look, furniture, matching furniture.
Oh man, this is
Yes.
great. I see your Lego sets back there. Awesome.
Yeah. Lego sets. All my the 3 that I made and 2 flutes that I bought. Some of my artwork, some of my merchandise, some of my favorite books, and also when I point to stuff, like I can actually point to it as opposed to it being off angle and me being like it's
Yeah.
right there. Right. Yeah.
And
So
this is great. And there's like a little table between the 2
Yes.
chairs.
yeah, a little table so we can have our drinks and not be
Oh man, this is
not be
awesome.
knocking it over. And I got it's on a TV that I'm watching you on, so I have the
Yeah.
remote for things. And yeah.
Oh, this is great. It looks great. I see your quiver back there.
Yes. Yeah. The quiver and there's the bow, and then right here.
May the force be with you.
Yes.
Yes, that's right.
Yes.
Right. Oh man, this is great. You're right.
Yeah.
I can tell you're broke now.
Yes. I'm broke. I mean, the truth is the stuff that the big stuff that I added is what I'm watching, not what you're looking at. I mean, I got the chairs, the table, and these shelves, and then did a bunch of work to put all this stuff up, but you don't see, the TV, the map, there's like a 50-inch TV right here that I'm looking at so that I can get
Yeah.
rid of the screens, and then there's a big arm for it so it can swing out of the way because otherwise there'd be a big stand, and yeah, so it's much easier for me and Paul to get in and out of, because before he'd like have to move his chair and I'd have to
Right. Yeah.
shimmy by his microphone, and
Yeah, this is great. So you have plenty of room now as well.
yes, and the puppy is laying like right there.
How's
Right.
the puppy doing?
He's good. He's good. He's
Okay.
doing great. He's laying on his bed.
Did he
current-
get the scissors?
No, so the vet was out of town. And so this coming Friday
Okay.
he'll go in. She wanted to do it. She wanted to do it herself, so
Very nice.
I know, right? Yeah.
Damage control. Go, go, go.
Nah, it's clear liquid. It'll be fine. Paul will just
Okay.
sit on something wet.
Are we gonna
Alright.
Paul tonight?
Yeah, we should. We should.
Okay.
Problem
cool,
has been
cool.
he's had to spend this time on Sundays prepping for
Right.
yeah, for trials on Mondays usually.
Hmm.
So what I'll probably do here is we'll go.
I already feel like the flow is better for you over there.
Yeah. So I
This
will
is
just.
this is great, man.
There you go.
So now you
Hello.
need is one more GoPro, and then we can bring in a second camera, and we can we can do 4 on the screen as opposed to 3.
That's true. That's true. That, and the way this sits, I think if I did the camera tripods crossing each other, it'd
Yeah.
look like we had two separate sort of
Yeah.
stations. So maybe, I mean, if I'm gonna do that, I need to get another. His stuff would have to run on an independent device, and I don't know how to put that on the same TV. So, and it's more
Yeah.
money. And it's more
Right.
money. So,
Yeah.
for
Dreams.
now. Yeah, for now
Hey,
I did it so it can be me or me and him or whatever.
No, this is good, man. This is real good. I'm stoked. That looks great. Yeah, man. See your French press back there too.
That is a Barbasol can.
Oh,
Because I use
Yeah.
a short one for my paintbrushes at like live shows because it's heavy
Yeah.
and it has this heavy rubber base on it. So I use it without the thing inside of it for my brushes, and it's kind of a thing because it just says Barbasol on it. There's no like company name or anything.
right.
So I use it for my brushes at all my live shows. So I got this one with it whenever I got it, and so I just keep that.
No,
keep
this is
that
good.
around.
This looks great, man. This looks incredible.
Yeah.
What is that?
thank you.
What is that to your left on the wall? The large
Over
dark thing?
here.
Yes.
This. Oh, this. Oh, this is just the staff, Aeon's staff in the paintings. I originally made it. I actually made the thing.
Oh man.
So when you see it,
Sick.
you see him holding it in some of the paintings, like
Mm-hmm.
and I made it, and I was trying to figure out a way to make like a prop version, like something cheap. And what I came down against was like I could make something that would last for a little bit, but if you like, you'd break it eventually.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to have to remake it, so I finally that's like 5 pieces of wood, 5 planks of wood that I glued and compressed together, let them dry to make one chunk of wood, and then I used a sawzall, files, rasps, and so on, and carved it down into that.
Oh, sweet. It's
So,
nice.
Yeah, it's a poplar in the middle, and then just dyed pine on the sides.
Nice. One thing when my wife moved in, she started bringing her things. Part of the adventure of a couple moving in together is you get to see all of their stuff, right? And
Yeah.
the one thing that surprised me the most is she has Gandalf's staff,
Oh, that's cool.
like
That's
full
cool.
size staff. We still got it. When we moved here, it broke in the trip here to the East Coast, but we glued it back together, get everything look, and it's propped up in the corner in the living room. That's cool. It's just kind of like, what? Didn't know you were that deep into it. But okay,
Yeah,
cool,
like
cool.
Lord of the Rings like that. And I've got let's see. So here's a if I can do it without knocking everything over. So here's this was bamboo, or it is, I guess. You can kind of see the joint there.
Yeah.
But I polished the whole thing down into, like a nice walking stick, and I've saved this because I only did the tip so far.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I haven't done a handle on it. And then I'm going to make. So I saved this because it's this super thick bamboo that a guy has in Fayetteville. Yeah, you might be able to see. You can see how thick the
Oh yeah.
wall of it is. So he has this stuff growing, and it looks really nice. Like all I've done is the skin is gone, but that's it. It has this nice coloring. So that is going to be a almost shoulder height Native American flute eventually, like the one out of Kill Bill.
I forgot to bring up speech chat.
Yeah, I'm gonna make a big side fed Kill Bill flute.
Is that going? Platforms. Twitch is on. Okay. Let me test this right quick. I didn't hear anything. Did you?
No. I did not.
I don't know why it's not connected. Oh, Twitch is off. I gotta log in for just a second. Hold on, people. I can't show you this part. Let me switch scenes. We're
I thought we were
There we go.
broadcast on Twitch.
We are, but I'm not going to show my login information.
Oh, right. Oh, you got to log in to start speech to chat.
Yeah.
Or text to speech.
Did I forget my password already? Show all saved passwords. For oh, yeah, I am in the wrong window. Yeah, sorry. Multiple accounts on one computer. This happens. Click on mute, and there we go. Let's try that one more time. Nothing. I see it, but I don't hear it. Control panel, voice, enable speech. Did you hear anything?
No. No.
Wait. I'm not watching it stream. That's why I'm not hearing it.
Ah.
Let me try that again. One more time. I still don't hear it. Man, come on.
Nope.
All right, let me check my audio output. Should be right. I am sharing audio. Let me leave and come back. Geez, nothing but problems. Problems. Can't win sometimes. Share your screen. Entire screen. Share screen. Oh, wait. Something's different. Share audio. That screen was different. When did Twitch update that? Or not Twitch, OBS. Yeah, I don't know why it's not shooting audio through. That's
We
super
might just
strange.
Not have TTS tonight.
Share audio. Nope, that was wrong. Hold on. Change windows. Entire screen. Yes. Sharing audio. Yes. Yeah, I don't know why it's not coming through. Super weird. Okay. Cool. Whatever. It is what it is, my guy.
All right. Did you turn the stream back on?
Oh, we're lopsided on the stream. Oopsies. Troubleshooting. Hold, please. Oh my gosh. Yeah, losing one stream just turned this whole thing sideways. Wow.
Oops.
That's all right. We're coming back up. All right, now we'll go back to our main stream page. Boop, boop. There we go. Except now I'm getting Discord overlay. Come on. There we go. Better. So I'm trying to upscale this logo, this new logo up here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm playing with this AI stuff because I would like to have this but fill the entire screen with just craziness.
Right.
So it's easier to create an image like this, and then use AI to expand it. So that's what I plan on doing. I don't know if you're talking to this screen. I need to bring freaking Discord back up on my laptop so I can see you. See what I mean? Just one little one little thing threw me off so badly. So, geez Louise, we are 20 minutes in. We haven't even done introductions yet. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Season 2, Episode 10 of Beyond the Shadows podcast. I am Victus.
I am Aeon.
And I'm just Paul will be here shortly.
Yes, he should be. He should be. As soon as he's done, he'll come this way. So I don't know when that'll be.
Okay.
Life of a lawyer. I mean,
right. Yeah, it's all good, man.
why I couldn't do it.
So let's see. I got us 2 more sounds for the soundboard.
Oh, right on.
Do you want to hear them?
Yes.
So first one is
Nice.
and the second one is this.
Yes.
That's what we needed last week, right?
Rim shot.
Yeah,
Yes,
the rim shot.
rim shot.
This is the short rim shot. So can I layer them?
Apparently.
Yeah, nice.
Apparently you can.
All right, cool. So, you don't know what we're talking about tonight.
No, I didn't.
The viewers and listeners know what we're talking about because the name of the stream and the name of the episode and your favorite streaming platform. Also, just for the sake of conversation while we're talking about it, we are on Apple Podcasts now, and we have 4 5-star reviews.
That's nuts.
Yes.
How did that happen? It must have been a mistake.
I'm one. My wife is the other. And
Oh,
I'm not sure
gotcha.
about the other 2. But still, we've got 4. So 2 other ones I can't account for. I don't know who they are. No comments.
Wow.
They just gave a 4-star review. So thank you, listener.
Wow. Awesome.
You rock and roll. So, I mean, should we wait with his shirts thing, or should we make Paul do his own shirt segment when he gets in?
He can do his own shirt segment because he didn't give me a time frame.
Okay, well,
His time frame was when he was done.
so like last week, 20 minutes, or the last 5 minutes of the show.
Right. I mean,
It's fine.
I was gonna say. I mean, it pays the bills, So
Let me just a second. I need to switch my stupid camera angle. I forgot I restarted. Oh no, I'm set to narrow. Never mind. We're good. I'm good. I look okay. My shot is framed appropriately. So, without further ado, I love her little jingle. That's one of my favorite things about the soundboard. I worked hard on that. That was like an hour and a half of grinding, finding the right website to make that jingle. So, I mean, we see yours, adulting. Yeah.
Adulting would not recommend. Yes.
1 star would not recommend.
1 star.
1 star. I'm doing 2 layers tonight. I got one of my favorite Hello Kitty Hawaiian shirts on, and my send nudes, but it's a bowl of noodles.
I forgot about that one. Send nudes.
So we've run out of the new shirts, so now we're dipping back into season 1 shirts.
Same.
And as long as I keep my rotation straight, it should be a different shirt every week, which is good.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I have 10, 15 videos and I'm like, because I don't rename anything after it's downloaded. I'm just like, yep, I know the first one downloaded, that's the one I'm messing with. So it's difficult.
Can't do that. You
Yeah,
can't do
it is.
that. like when I make music, dude, I make a folder before I even start. I make a folder and call it some placeholder name, right? Usually something to do with the feel I'm going for. And then not only do I save the like the working file, like the the Ableton like production file.
Mhm.
But each time I make like if I make a kick and if I modify the kick at all, I'll save the individual samples that I'm putting in the drop down menus. I'll save those individual ones in there in case something happens, and they're labeled for like what I thought that sounded like.
Mhm.
Everything. And then as I go along, like if I make a major change, like I'm like, oh no, I'm gonna change the beat up, 10 BPM. Then I save the original, and then I start saving files on the new BPM,
Oh, right.
labeled BPM change parentheses whatever.
The only downside to me making tons of copies is these video files are like 5-6 gigs every week.
No, I just mean name your stuff.
Well, what I'll do is I'll create a file of the desktop, and as I'm working the episode, and if I make like shorts and reels, everything goes into the folder on the desktop. So like this week is season 2, episode 10, so it's 210. So on my
okay.
desktop right now, I've got a 210 file. But the
Okay.
downloaded video will sit in my download folder for a week before I move it. But all the other stuff will go into 210 on the desktop. And then
I see.
and then right before we get going for this week, or once I start research and I need to start saving files, 210 goes to the server, 211 gets made.
Okay.
And
Well,
if
that's
I need
better.
to save, I've got
That's
3 locations. I've got the laptop, the desktop, and the server that each 3 hold a copy of each file.
Oh, okay. Well, that's better.
Redundancies for sure, but it's a lot of work. Jeez, I'm starting to worry because my server's running all the time. I'm scared that things going to go down. I'm going to lose a bunch of stuff
Why is it running all the time?
because we use it. I use it for media streaming as
Oh,
well.
That's right. I forgot you also stream
Mhm.
your movies at home with
I
it.
need to. It's complicated because it's not Windows based. It's its own operating system called Unraid, and so it's not like you can go into Windows and tell it to sleep when it's inactive. You've got to find a piece of software or a program or write some code to do what you need to do.
To make it sleep when you're not using it.
Yeah. So I'm still learning. Unraid is its own creature. It is obnoxiously difficult for something so simple. But I was hoping a little bit of money from the tax returns, but that didn't happen. And I was gonna get a huge like 10 terabyte hard drive and back everything up once a month. But I think right now we're doing like 7 or 8 terabytes of data on the server, and
Dang.
it's growing exponentially because every week, like 2 weeks ago, I uploaded like 40 videos to YouTube and to Facebook. So I've got
Of all the clip ups.
I got the 4 gig video from the stream, and then I've got 40 videos that are clips of it, plus editing and all this stuff. It's just copies of copies and copies, and it's hard to find duplicates. It really is. So we are, last week we talked about we wanted to do alien UFO thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I've got a unique one, and this one
sort
came.
of a mixed bag these days.
Yeah. So, before I go too much further, I need to figure out how to pronounce this lady's name.
I mean, if you listen to, alt news too much, everyone's either an alien in disguise or being controlled by them. So. Also, I read a fun breakdown by a couple of research psychologists that said that Elon Musk exhibits all the telltale signs of prolonged, prodigious use of ketamine.
Oh, yeah. That doesn't surprise me at all.
I was like, huh. I was like, actually, that does make a lot of the things that he does make sense all of a sudden.
Yeah,
I'm familiar.
yeah.
I'm familiar. Yeah. The disassociation, the like plans that he's sure that are going to work without understanding any of the mechanics in between. Like, yes, I had this idea. It's sure to work. No, nothing in between to connect them.
Yeah. Have you seen the most recent video of him where he did like a huge dose of, it was like a massive dose of an edible and then did a small hit of acid on top of it? And he's just, the camera's like this, and he's like, I have 15 ideas of how to get to Mars right now. and his eyes are watery, and he's gone. He is gone. And I'm just like, geez, this is the guy that the president's bringing in. I mean,
I guess I have a whole lot of problems with that, but also his pushing forth of the idea that any of the ideas about how to get to Mars are his. Chief among them. It's like, dude, you have the money and you hire all of the guys who figure that out. You, sir, don't figure out how rocket engines work. You, sir, didn't figure out how to make them land on their own. You have no idea how to get to Mars.
He's the guy who decided to make his rockets pointy because of that movie, The Dictator.
Right. That's him. Right. That's him. He's not the guy figuring out the complex mechanics of getting humans to Mars. He's not. No, he's the pointy rocket guy. Yeah. Exactly.
But I will say,
and he's the guy taking acid in a huge dose of edibles and filming it for public consumption. He's that guy.
Yeah.
My buddies that took a lot of edibles and ate LSD in high school are not the guys trying to get us to Mars. I'm just saying, it's not a personal dig. It's just, there's some stereotypes for a reason.
Yeah. I am not political in any way, shape, or form. I don't generally hold ideas of what I think politics should or shouldn't be. There's a part of me that doesn't like Trump, but there's a part of me that kind of does. His no nonsense, the no bullshit kind of thing is cool with me. I like it because nobody in politics does it. He's quick to call somebody on their bullshit. I like that. But his way of doing things is wrong. It is not professional. He is literally the president. He should be holding himself to the highest standard, and he is not. However, he did release the full JFK file. Allegedly. So, allegedly.
I had to throw that in there. I mean, if you're a conspiracy within the conspiracy guy, you're like, yeah, no, they're just releasing those so that you'll stop asking.
So, I will say, so there's 2 or 3 people that have had access to the complete file, and not much new has come out except for the fact that they have officially changed their stance. The government has officially changed their stance to saying that they don't believe there was a single shooter. Now they're saying there's 2 shooters and they don't know who the second shooter was. And now they're saying they're not 100% sure that Lee Harvey Oswald was the original shooter.
Or even connected.
Right. It might have just been a wrong place, wrong time. Does my camera look funny to you? Am I crooked? Do I look crooked to you?
Seems fine.
Maybe it's just me.
It's just the balance of your face bones.
Huh. On that note, but yeah, I mean, a little bit of kudos anyway to releasing the JFK files. It's a shame that he's only let like 3 people see it, but at least they're quote unquote allowed to talk about it.
Yeah, I
feel good about it. We're getting closer to disclosure.
The thing that I think is funny is there's a lot, there's plenty of people out there that are, have shows and followings about there digging into conspiracies, right? Usually oftentimes a lot of it's very silly, right? But then you point out to these same people like an actual conspiracy, like one with trailing facts leading up to a hole in information. They're like, oh no, that can't be true. It's like, so your thing about subterranean lizard men being the root of all the royal families in the world has to be true, but this other thing with some actual facts to point to an information hole, that can't be true. Homie, I think you're a little out of skew.
Yeah. I'm
down for conspiracies, but not just when you just make up a good story and you're like, yeah, I think that's probably a thing. Yeah. That's not a conspiracy has to have something somewhere that started it.
Right.
Not just I want this to be true. I always like to point to the subterranean lizard men because it's probably the most outlandish one that I've heard personally.
Oh sure, yeah. I'm with you. I'd seen something recently about it. What was it?
Oh, they just love it on like Ancient Aliens. They just love that stuff, man.
Yeah.
Dude, they've hit it like they've hit on that like several times. I'm like, you guys. I mean, I think that'd be cool too, but I just don't or the
cameras
or
are
the-
everywhere. You'd think at this point we would have seen one by now, right?
or the secret Nazi base
And
dug into in Antarctica that's still
Yeah.
operational today and flying UFOs out of it to and from, other planets. I'm like, dude, come on.
I'm gonna pull up speech chat on my laptop and see if this will, because then I can at least hear it. This one, yeah, because it's tied to my normal email. Nope, wrong password. Okay, cool. I'm not dealing with it right now. Oh no, wait. Yeah. I remember the password. Jeez, I'm an idiot. Yeah, just changed my Google password because I'm a member of this website called Have I Been Pwned?
Oh yeah, you told me about it.
Yeah, and I use them. It's free. The guy used to work for NSA, and he thought it was ridiculous that the NSA does not release information when they know that people's information has been compromised. To let those people know, and he didn't agree with their philosophy. That we can find that if they've been compromised, but we're not going to tell them. So he started his own website that it's haveibeenpwned.com, and you just put in your email, and he will scan the dark web for your email address. And unfortunately, my email and password has been compromised. But as soon as it came up, so like I'm part of his mailing list, it came up, it was compromised that evening, and it came up. I woke up the next morning and it was there. Hey, you've been compromised. And then when I went to change my password, I was just getting the notification from Google, so I changed my password. So
okay.
I've been using the same password for 20 plus years, and I'm finally changing it. Shame on me, but it's okay. It's all right. So, I got speech chat rolling. So, we said we were going to talk about aliens, UFOs tonight. Ugh. Enough of the politics. I need to figure out how to pronounce this lady's name. Let me listen to my phone right quick.
Also, have you ever had this?
No, I don't know this.
Do you know what yerba mate is?
I do not.
So it's a super caffeinated tea leaf.
Ooh.
Much stronger than coffee and that sort of thing. And you drink these and it just tastes like this one's a lemony sort of tea. Oh my god, it's like jet fuel.
I've cut out energy drinks. I don't do energy drinks anymore. Just coffee.
I don't do energy
Coffee.
drinks.
Coffee and penguin juice.
I don't do any energy drinks, but I will do caffeine from any plant-derived source. Like they don't concentrate it. I used to buy yerba mate. The tea tastes super bitter when you brew it. It tastes like green tea, but more bitter instead.
Right.
And I used to drink it in the morning, and yeah, it was like jet fuel.
Okay, one last time. I need to hear how this name is pronounced.
Linda Napolitano.
Napolitano. So, this was this week we're talking about what has been referred to colloquially as the Manhattan Alien Abduction. This is a really weird one.
They made a big documentary on this recently, didn't they?
Yes, they did.
Yeah. I haven't watched it, so I don't know anything about it, other than that it was apparently a big media thing.
Unofficially, they're calling it the enigmatic abduction of Linda Napolitano and the UN general's alleged involvement.
The UN general.
UN general, United Nations friend.
Wow. Okay.
So part of my homework for the week was I watched the documentary.
Okay.
And it has got greasy roots, slimy greasy roots that run deep in weird places. Weird places you don't brag to your friends about roots being.
The things the roots do on a vacation weekend in Tijuana.
That's right. Yeah, yeah. That's it.
I love your new soundboards.
The backing track. Yeah, this is great.
Yeah, the backing track. Yeah.
So, so yeah, this is a really weird one, and like the news, there's so much news coverage of this, but it's kind of recent. It was in 1989 when it happened, but there was more news coverage towards the mid 90s, so we're not necessarily free to use the news coverage like we are with a lot of our stuff that we usually cover.
Right.
So I don't have any real clips of any news. I can't use any interviews. Increasingly lately, she's been doing a lot of interviews because they did just recently make a documentary.
Yeah.
And at the end of last year, there is a Netflix series.
Maybe that's the thing that I saw advertised.
Yeah, it was only like 4 episodes, 3 or 4 episodes.
Maybe that I saw advertised, the Netflix series. But yeah, I've seen it pop up a lot lately.
I haven't watched it yet. I want to. I started trying to find it, but I haven't just put my hands on it yet. Let me resize my windows. Yeah, there we go. So, this does have some weird factual basis. Let me fix my hair, man. I'm sorry. I took a shower like 2 hours ago. My hair's all over the place. This is why I don't shower so close to the.
I know, me too. I know, me too. Me too.
Do you miss your long hair
everywhere. Yet? Nah, I don't. I don't. Couple of reasons. I mean, one, I don't miss messing with long hair. I mean, my hair was nice when it was long, but pulling it back and, like when I grill, like all my hair would just smell like, meat smoke and just little things like that. And my current haircut lets me move in almost any sort of circle business wise and still be fun when I'm not in a suit. Yeah. So it works in and out of a suit, which is tough. It's tough with long hair.
It is
tougher because if I have it long, I want it long enough to put it up in a bun. And also the man bun thing. I've spent so much time since I've been out making fun of man buns since I had them when people used to make fun of them. like when people made fun of them because they weren't cool. I had them before they were cool. Yeah. Then they were cool, and then now they're a stereotype.
Yeah.
So it was fine. I didn't mind people making fun of me because I was the only guy that had it. That's fine. But the stereotype of dudes with man buns is mostly true. Yeah. So I don't want to play into it.
I want to do the man bun desperately. But this is actually a grown out mohawk. So when I go to pull it up, the sides are only like this long as opposed to the rest of it is this long. And it does not look right. I look like a really horribly maintained homeless person. So it's bad. So like this is my look now. I just push it back. I don't even put the hair to the sides too much anymore. Frame my face because it's just I like having the long hair because you know why. We for reasons I don't want to say, but I wasn't allowed to have long hair for a long time.
Yeah,
and then I had it.
Weird.
Yeah.
Same reason. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm finally to the point where I don't need a super long beard to feel like check me out, I'm manly. But it took 4 inches off. Did you even notice?
No, not until you said it last week.
Yeah, it was about a month ago.
I didn't.
But
no, so I shaved the sides short so that you can see the white in my hair.
No, there's a reason I dyed my hair, I promise.
And the white in my beard. Well, because check it out, I still look relatively young, or at least I think I do.
You do.
I think I do. And so that with all the white hair, people can almost never guess my age.
Yeah,
which I really like when I'm trying to talk somebody, when I'm trying to, talk about a business idea or something like that. The white hair gives me a little more cred than my face does.
Yeah.
So
yeah, well, when I'm at work, I have a hat on, one form of hat or another, and you don't usually see. Plus, I got my hair up. I do a hair clip while I'm at work, and then I put a hat on. Most people don't see my hair unless I'm struggling at work, and then I got to take the hat off in frustration. But up until Yeah, up until like 2 months ago, that's exactly what it. That's exactly
that's
how
what
I
I
took my hat off
figured.
at work.
Throw it on the ground.
That's exactly what it is. And like up until like 2 months ago, I didn't realize that I was the second oldest guy working in the shop. Like,
Oh, really?
There's one guy. He's been there for like 10 plus years, and he's like the shop manager, quote unquote shop manager. And dude's just kind of aggressive in everything he does. It's just the way he is. He's not trying to be a bad guy. It's just the way he is. People are like that. I get it. And we kind of, professionally, we were on the same level, but we would butt heads because he would try to. I'm aggressive. I'm the head honcho.
Right.
And then we were talking one day, and I was like, "Oh yeah, this song came out in 06." And he's like, "Oh yeah, that was the year I graduated." I'm like, "What?" he's like, "Yeah, I graduated in 06." So he's like, "What year did you graduate?" I was like, 04. And he's looking at me. He's like,
05?
He's like, "Wait, you're older than me?" I was like, "Yeah, I am." And he's looking at me.
I am.
And I pat him on the. I just looked at him for a second. I pat him on the shoulder, and I go, "You know what? You'll understand when you're older." And I walked away. And ever since then, dude, it completely disarmed this guy, and now he's like totally cool, like every
That's
single
funny.
day, because his thing is he likes to mess with the new guys. Oh, you're doing it wrong. You're doing it wrong. What the heck's wrong with you? You're doing it wrong.
Right.
Doesn't even say that stuff to me anymore.
Now he comes up and he's like, "What do you want for lunch, Dad?" Mr.
Yeah,
Victus.
the whole
What do you want for lunch,
dynamic
Mr.
changed.
Victus?
Yeah, the whole dynamic changed, and just like, wow, I've got like a year and a half, 2 years on this guy, and I'm like, cool, this works for me, man. Only got one person in the shop older than me, and dude's pushing 50, so.
He's like, I gotta leave early. Do you mind locking up, Mr. Victus?
No,
son,
it's
okay,
it's,
go on home.
it's not like that
Oh, no.
yet. So, anyway, gee. You'll understand when you're older. I didn't know I was older. Am I older than you? What year
Yeah,
were you born?
apparently.
What year were you born?
86.
What month?
April.
Oh no, you're older than me.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, September of '86.
Yeah, I was just a slow kid my whole life, so I graduated like a year late.
I graduated a year early.
Oh, well, maybe I didn't graduate late.
Yeah, I graduated a year early because so I started off high school in Detroit, and they had tons and tons and tons of classes up there. My freshman year in high school in Detroit I had like 12, 15 classes, and I moved to Arkansas. I had 6 classes my freshman year. So my senior year, I had more credits than I needed to graduate. So they just said, well, we could graduate you now, or you could just hang out for for a semester. I was like, graduate me?
Yeah.
So,
see it.
so as opposed to being the class of 05, I became the class of 04.
Okay.
Yeah, it was wild. Yeah. Anywho, we're getting off on a tangent. Wow. It's just, is that the way this episode's going? Yeesh. What are we at? 48 minutes. Adults hanging out. This is what we do.
That's why when I describe this to anybody, I tell them it's the paranormal cuss and discuss. And they're like, you guys are cussing and discussing about paranormal stuff? I'm like, no, it's paranormal, comma, cuss and discuss.
More like paranormal, comma, cuss, comma, discuss.
Discuss. Yeah, it's not. I mean, they intermingle, but no, it's there's the path, and then there's us.
It's the 3 describing words of the podcast, and each one can be used interchangeably. Paranormal discuss, paranormal cuss, paranormal, paranormal, cuss and paranormal, cuss and discuss paranormal, discuss pants. There's a bunch of different ways it could go. Yeah, I love this soundboard. Boots and pants.
Yeah,
Boots and boots and pants and boots and pants and boots and pants and boots and pants.
I do that to my sister anytime she's in town and we're gonna go to a show. Like, that's how she knows that I booked something, because I'll come up behind her and be like, I'll just be doing this, and she'd be like, "What?" I'd be like, "Boots and pants and boots and pants and boots and pants and boots and pants and boots and pants." She's like, "Who are we going to see?" Don't worry about it. You'll like it.
All right. Well, let's get into it. We're nearly an hour into it, and we haven't even touched the subject yet, which is fine because I don't have a whole lot of information on this. So, we are discussing what is called commonly the Manhattan Alien Abduction. This is a weird one. Do you have your tinfoil hat ready? Do you have a tinfoil hat yet?
I don't. I keep forgetting to make one, and I have
Shame
some
on you.
heavy-duty tinfoil just for it at the home, at the domicile.
I'm gonna say it's a little weirder than you think making one. Yeah, I was like, cool, 2 sheets, I'm done, right? No,
Right.
it was like 5 by the time I was done, and it sits here, and yeah, it's right above here. Well, let me pull it down because we're gonna need it today, friend. No,
it looks like the head of one of the Teletubbies.
yeah, I
The
should
one
have.
with the one with the wing wang for an ornament.
I should have made this with the headphones on, so that way I could wear this with
I
the
was
headphones.
just gonna fold up, like, you know how I used to make a boat slash hat
Yeah,
in school. I was just gonna make one of those, like I got some of the extra long, like
Yeah.
like this long tinfoil. I was gonna like double it over and then just fold up a.
yeah. There we go. That looks all right. That does not look all right.
No, it's fitting. It's fitting.
Okay, it's fitting for the episode. Wait till you
Yeah,
hear
it's
what's
fitting. Yeah.
I need to talk more with my head this episode. All right, we'll take that off for now. So, I played a little bit with our script writing software and got some a little more creative writing this week. So bear with me. I need to hear this name one more time. This is a weird Italian name. It sounds simple once you hear it, but
Napolitano.
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 Tano? I don't think it's Tano. I think it's Tano. Napolitano. So,
That sounds right.
on a cold November night in 1989, an event unfolded in New York City that would become one of the most controversial and widely discussed alien abduction cases in modern history.
Thick like peanut butter, dude.
Thick like yeah. Linda Napolitano, a seemingly ordinary woman, claimed she was taken from her Manhattan apartment by extraterrestrial beings. But what made her account particularly shocking was the involvement of high-profile witnesses, allegedly none other than United Nations Secretary, the one name I should have seen how to pronounce. I'm not going to try to pronounce this guy's full last name. We're just going to call him UN Secretary General Javier. Dubbed the Brooklyn Bridge Abduction. This incident has fascinated ufologists, skeptics, and conspiracy theorists alike for decades.
I
The
hate
sheer
that
number
word.
ufologists,
Yes, I hate it like the way other people hate the word moist.
should I call it ufologists?
Ufologist.
call it
Ufologist.
Ufologists?
Ufologist. Yeah.
See, because
I just-
UFOologists,
It makes it sound like it's a science, and it's not.
ufologists. There, I will
I
call
mean-
it, for the sake of conversation, we'll call it ufologist, so it sounds a little silly.
It's like saying bird watching is a science. It's not unless you're a scientist.
Oh, what is the scientific term for somebody who studies birds?
I don't know. I mean, it's. I know stamps is philately. Weirdly.
Oh, whoa, yeah.
Like stamp collecting is philatelist.
Unfortunately, I should know that because I do collect stamps.
I learned it on Family Guy.
Philately?
Philately.
Interesting. Wow. Yeah, I've been collecting stamps since I was a kid. I never heard that.
There's
We-
one for bird watching enthusiasts, but I don't remember it either.
I know egg scientists are called oologists.
Oh, like ovum.
Yeah.
Uh,
Oologist. I learned that one from Ready Player One.
Oologist.
Oology. Because in Ready Player One, they were looking for the Easter egg, and the people hunting the egg, they called themselves oologists.
Yeah, I think that's something they made up for the book, though.
No, it's a word. It's a
Think-
thing.
Is that
Because it
really
was-
what you call people who study eggs for a living?
It was also in American Dad, the episode where they find this secret society of people obsessed with eggs.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, fair enough. I mean, we all know everything. We all know that oh, what is his name?
Ufology.
No,
You-
the guy who
you follow-
writes Family Guy
Jesus
and American
Christ.
Dad. I mean, it's that
Jesus.
good. So, it could be. But
Seth MacFarlane.
yes, we all know that Seth MacFarlane's shows are gospel where that sort of thing's concerned. So you can
Right,
probably
yeah.
rely on it.
He's a
I
wonderful
do.
researcher. He does his due
I
diligence.
rely on it.
Yes, so do I. So, anyway, oh, geez, this incident has fascinated ufologists, skeptics, and conspiracy theorists alike for decades. The sheer number of alleged witnesses, along with the prominence of those rumored to have seen the event, elevates this case above typical abduction stories. So, out of the
I
gate,
like how you gave it the Italian
hey,
prominence.
hey, prominence, hey, forget about it. Yeah, every Italian stereotype. Get ready, because we have an Italian main character here. Ma! Hey, I'm working over.
Ma, Taylor! Ma! Look, Ma!
Ma, make us a lemonade, Ma! So, we're going to
It
start
came
with
for you, gabagoo.
Hey!
I'm not really sure what gabagoo is, but it comes up a
Gabagoo
lot.
is?
It's not
All I
really
can think of
good.
is the American Dad, where
It's
they
a
were
food.
all the American Dad, where they were all like they became an Italian family. And Francine's like, "You're breaking my heart."
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, geez, Seth MacFarlane. Come on the show, Seth MacFarlane. Come on, buddy. We'll take you.
We love you, Seth.
So we're going to start with the alleged abduction. So according to a Napolitano's account, in the early morning hours of November 30th, 1989, she was levitated out her apartment through a closed window and transported aboard a spacecraft hovering above Manhattan. So, super broad strokes, but I've got some filler to put in here because I've seen a documentary. So it starts off with her. So she had like 2 or 3 nights of really strange dreams where she was seeing grays, and she did consult. So everything happened, and she was having weird dreams. So this is how it all started. She was having weird dreams, and it was the result of the weird dreams. She just happened upon a conversation with somebody who knew somebody who knew somebody who knew somebody that did regression hypnosis therapy. I'm sure this guy's name is going to come up later because he's a very prominent. Yes, I see his name. So Bud Hopkins is the regression hypnosis therapy guy. Not so much a therapy guy. I don't like Bud Hopkins. I have a personal opinion about him. He has done a lot of stuff with. So he was the regression hypnosis guy for Betty and Barney Hill.
Was he the guy that they threw all of his stuff out because he did a lot of suggesting?
Yes,
Yes.
among other things. I'm gonna hit this with some broad strokes, but dude is a douchebag. He did some.
It's a pretty broad stroke.
He did some. I don't want to use the word bad things. He did some unprofessional things with women while they were in hypnosis suggestive state. Yeah, and he did it for close to 20 years before somebody finally blew the whistle. Huge investigation. Dude never saw a day of prison time, which is ridiculous to me because I've listened to testimony from like 10, 12 women who had been through regression hypnosis with this guy. And he would put them in hypnosis states and start to do what he normally does with the alien abductions. but then he would throw something in for himself on the end. We'll just leave it at that. I don't want to glorify what he's doing because nothing what he did was glorified, but he did do a little bit of work in the field of ufology and helped substantiate ufology. He did help to substantiate some cases. Most prominent of which was the Betty and Barney Hill case. He was the regression hypnosis guy with Betty and Barney Hill. If you recall back season 1, we actually listened to the entire, well, not the entire, but probably like 2/3 of the actual hypnosis session. So that was his voice on the recording we heard. Not to sugar or not to downplay it at all. He was good at what he did, but he did do some suggestive stuff. There was, I think the problem with him was he had federal funding, and they were like, look, if you can prove this is going to happen, or if you can give us this amount of evidence, we will continue to fund you in your research. And so he was feeding his subjects the information that the government wanted. So when he did, all he would do is like start recording after the hypnosis session started, and he was editing the tapes. And so he's like, here's the tape, check it out for yourself, give it the money you think it's worth. So the federal government was funding him. This guy, very douchebaggery. He's not a good guy, but he did come through with a few details. So I don't want to bias your decision about this case beforehand, but it does need to be stated for the spirit of clarity and transparency for this case. So going off script still, she was having nights of weird dreams, mentioned it to somebody who knew Bud Hopkins, and they said, you should go to Bud Hopkins. He does these great hypnosis sessions, and he could tell you what they mean. And once he started doing the regression with her, they started putting together a timeline of what really happened. And the story of what we have here is a recreation through hypnosis of what happened to Linda Napolitano. So, according to her account, in the early morning hours of November 30, 1989, she was levitated out of her apartment window, which was closed, and transported above a spacecraft hovering above Manhattan. She described being subjected to a medical examination by gray-skinned humanoid beings with large black eyes, an image now synonymous with classic alien encounters. The experience, according to Napolitano, was both terrifying and surreal. She recalled feeling paralyzed and unable to resist as the beings conducted their procedures, which included inserting strange instruments into her body. These descriptions align closely with other well-documented alien abduction cases, lending credibility to her story in the eyes of many ufologists. So, I'm going to read a little bit more about what she saw, and then I'm going to fill in some of the blanks that I picked up from the documentary. So she provided chilling details of the interior of the craft, describing a sterile, metallic environment with a dim, bluish light that seemed to emanate from the walls themselves. The air inside the craft had a distinctively crisp and almost electric feel, and she could hear an incessant low humming noise throughout the experience. As she looked around, she saw complex control panels covered in glowing symbols that she did not recognize. The room was filled with a faint mist, and despite the alien beings' emotionless expressions, she recalled sensing an overwhelming feeling of being observed. So, we're already on par with Travis Walton. You remember the Fire in the Sky guy?
Yeah, and a lot of abduction stories, right? Like they always kind of describe the same sort of place. Yeah. Same sort of creature, same sort of place, same sort of happening.
Yeah, in the documentary I watched, they were showing like videographer recreations of what she saw. And the whole time I'm watching it, all I could think about was, this looks like Fire in the Sky. Except Fire in the Sky, like parts of the ship were like organic looking.
Yeah.
as opposed to
gooey.
this one. Yeah, this one felt more like stainless steel, almost like a medical setting.
Yeah.
So she described the beings in greater detail, approximately 4 feet tall with elongated limbs and disproportionately large heads. The gray skin appeared smooth, yet somewhat translucent under the lighting. Their eyes were large, jet black, and seemingly devoid of pupils, and they never blinked. She remembered that their fingers were long and delicate, ending in slightly bulbous tips that seemed capable of intricate movement. Which is a phenomenal detail because you don't hear a lot about. So, let's say you get abducted by somebody, you're not going to remember. You're not going to remember what their hands look like, right?
I
So
don't know,
this is.
maybe I'm a hand guy.
Are,
No, I'm not.
are you a hand guy?
No.
That's
I mean,
fine.
they're
I mean,
used- I mean, they're useful, but hand guy makes it sound like foot guy kind of thing. It's not like a thing, you know. I'm like
it's interesting.
doing
You
with them
say-
hands. Yeah. What are you doing with them hands?
Not sure what to do with my hands right now. But yeah, it is an interesting detail because I can't think of any other alien abduction case where somebody gets into detail about the hands.
Right.
We
just know they're long, thin, and creepy.
Yeah. You think that's strange? You should see how we pee. You know what I'm talking about. All right. So, when they communicated, it was not through speech, but through direct thoughts implanted in her mind, which is kind of what we've come to
Consistent.
expect. Yeah.
Yeah, it's consistent.
Napolitano claimed to have vague memories of communications with beings, stating that they conveyed messages about humanity's future, which is also on par with the rest of the alien abduction or alien interaction cases we've come across.
That's like the South African kids.
Exactly. Yeah. So this is a very, very common thread with just about any alien interaction case, which is why a lot of people think that the alien abductions or alien encounter stuff is not true. It's you've got a group of people that have an idea that we don't agree with nuclear power, we don't agree with nuclear weapons, so we're going to fake this whole situation and say the aliens told us that we should stay away from nuclear weapons and nuclear power because we're killing the Earth. Because I hate to use the words, but it does sound like a tree hugger statement, and it sounds like a very human thing to say, right?
I mean,
And-
yeah, except I would argue that even in an advanced, if you're going to say they're a species or a phasing being or whatever, I don't think you can understate the impact of the ability to manipulate atoms.
Yeah.
I mean, it can be very safe power. For instance, it has its dangers, but it can be a very safe power source. But I cannot overstate the massive achievement of what nuclear technology represents. And the crazy thing is really what we figured out was how to refine it, and that if you get it near enough of itself, it starts making these bouncing chain reactions. So it's kind of like it's kind of like rolling up old school dynamite and carrying it around in your pocket, like the stuff that would sweat nitroglycerin and get set off from being jostled. Us having nuclear power plants in the way they work, they're essentially just super efficient water boilers.
Yeah.
It's a lot like walking around with old school dynamite in your pocket on a hot day. Like, it's just, yes, we know what we're doing, but it's so new, and it's still such, like, we barely have an understanding about it, and then immediately started using it.
Yeah, we're doing like 30-40% efficiency with nuclear reactors.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is why you have so much waste. Like
Exactly.
why the nuclear waste is so radioactive still, because we're not actually able to efficiently use. So, it's a lot like giving cavemen machine guns. Like it's not it's very similar. So they see us having it, and probably, or if you're gonna assume all that's true, seeing people like us having technology like that, it certainly looks like we made a leap without looking, and we stumbled across technology we were not ready for.
Yeah.
Which is pretty true. Like I said,
Yeah.
see how the dynamic changes on a solitary island when you give the natives RPGs.
Yeah.
Like, it's like having something that you don't even understand, the ramifications of it, but you can use it. So
Yeah.
I don't think it's surprising that they want to give us messages about nuclear weapons. I don't think it's any secret what we've done to the planet in the broad stroke.
Right.
We see effects of it all the time, and I think they know how hard it is to replace a planet.
Yeah.
So, they're
Absolutely,
like,
yeah.
hey guys, maybe chill a little. You don't have another one.
X-nay with the nuclear nay.
Yeah, we have lots of planets. You guys don't have another planet. You should chill out.
Yeah. Chill out with the nuclear
We can just
stuff.
leave. You guys can't.
Yeah. Yeah, you can.
And we're not and you're not getting on our ship.
Yeah, you see the laugh
the
track.
soundboard's so much better. Yes.
It's so much better. Hey, little puppy. Oh, who's coming to join us? Got a Tony Basil. Hello. Oh, okay. He's come to see the internet. Hello, internet.
I always like to remind Paul when Jack licks his face, I'm like, he also uses that thing as toilet paper.
Yes. This guy, he's gift for getting the tongue right up the nose. Oh, can you hear him sniffing?
Yes, I could, actually.
All right, buddy. Here you go. Don't get tangled, please. You're attached. Okay, thank you. All right. So we're checking a lot of the alien abductions, alien interaction boxes right out of the gate. So she also claimed to have vague memories of communications stating conveyed messages of the humanity's future. According to her, the extraterrestrials seemed concerned with Earth's environmental destruction and the potential for nuclear war. So there's another box. So if you're keeping score, there's another one. This aspect of the case has intrigued researchers who believe that many alien abduction experiences share a common theme of messages warning humanity about impending global crisis. There you go. So, we're checking a lot of boxes here. So, some of the things that aren't in this research that I learned through the documentary, and this was unfortunately, this documentary was not super well produced. Like you could watch it for free on YouTube. I stream most of my stuff from the server using what's called Plex. Plex also has like free movies, free TV streaming stuff. And Plex had this movie on demand. So
it's free everywhere.
It's free. Very low production value, lots of stock footage. I think in the span of an hour, I saw the same spooky animation of this nondescript alien creeping out of the darkness into the light, probably 6 times in an hour.
Yeah, they had to fill behind all the talking.
Yeah,
right.
But they did have actual interviews with Linda Napolitano, and some of the things she talked about that it's not in this research, but I wanted to bring it up was her first regression was she was asleep in bed and these Greys came and were checking her out and they were like poking her with their fingertips like, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? While she's sleeping. Of course she's paralyzed because that's how this stuff works, right? And it's went on for a couple nights, and then the third night there was 5 of them in her room surrounding her bed. Room's completely dark and there's a weird light coming from the window. And she starts to panic, and one of them tell her telepathically just to remain calm, that they're not going to hurt her. Which is, we're also checking that box.
They're like, yeah, just calm down. It's just the Gray train. Don't worry about it.
Hop on the Gray train. Here we go.
Hop on the Gray train.
Gray train.
We said there's 5 of them.
Yeah.
I believe in the Urban Dictionary that counts as a train.
Gray train. We should.
Yeah,
should we
anything
start
more
using
than a
that?
threesome. Anything more than a threesome's a train.
Oh, so the gray. So that makes it the gray train.
The gray train, yeah. Oh my god.
You're. Yeah, I'm with it now. I got you.
Okay.
Hold on, let me take some more penguin juice. I'm not ready for the gray train yet. Give me a couple more of these.
You wasn't either.
Apparently not.
They wouldn't be coming if everybody was ready for it.
So, third night, 5 of them in a room, 2 on each side of her bed, 1 on the foot of the bed. The one at the foot of her bed does the hand signal of doom. Oh wait! I got a sound for this. And she starts to rise up off of her bed, completely stiff. Light as a feather, stiff as a board style.
Theremin will do that.
Yeah, Theremin will do that.
Theremin will do that.
And so she raises up off the bed and she starts floating towards the window, which is where the light's coming from. And she starts to panic a little bit because she knows her window's closed and she could see the window. So, as we know, in situations like this, you don't have control of any part of your body, but usually your eyes. So you're able to move your eyes around and look, which is a little weird. It can be a little misconstrued because it also has to do somewhat in the same vein of sleep paralysis, exact same symptoms of sleep paralysis.
Mm-hmm.
So she's floating,
which is usually the people's counter argument to it.
Right. So she's floating above the bed. She starts floating towards the window, and she phases straight through the solid window. And then next thing you know, she's outside. So this is in, where did we say? This is in New York. So she floats out of her apartment on like the 32nd floor of her apartment building. And she's floating totally horizontal, sleeping position. But as she's floating, as soon as she passes through the window, the other 5 grays are with her. So they're still around her, but now they're outside the building and she's floating completely horizontal in the sky. And she's floating through the sky. There's tons and tons of detail in her interview where she talks about she can feel the wind whipping. She can smell the water. She could smell the rain falling on the other side of New York City. She could smell the pollution from the city, everything. She's got a perfect olfactory sensation of what's really happening around her while she's floating upward in the sky with these 5 grays. So she floats all the way up to the sky, and she eventually gets to this point where there is a UFO in the sky, and that's where the light is coming from. And she is bathed in this light, and all 5 of them and her float up to the bottom of the craft, flash a light, and the next thing she knows, she's on this examination table inside the alien spacecraft.
Beep boop. Examination table.
Beep boop. Beep boop. Do we have any? What do we got? Not really. Alien spacecraft.
Alien spacecraft.
Alien spacecraft.
Cutscene.
Aliens.
So now she's on the alien spacecraft with the aliens. So once she's in the craft, she's on the examination table. She starts to regain some of her ability to move. So she's trying to fight, moving her body, bucking on this examination table, which is when the aliens hold her down. Straps come out of the table, choo-choo, like a science fiction movie, hold her down. So the only thing left for her to do is scream. And after a couple of minutes, she's able to regain her control over her vocal cords, and she starts screaming, like top of her lungs screaming. And this is when one of them look at her, and the way they described it, he does this face. He does the, when he hears her scream, and he like waves a hand over her face, and she's just and then she passes out.
Does the confused Vulcan face?
Yeah. Human emotion. So she does. So he does the hand wave over the face, and she passes out, and she wakes up.
She knows our mating scream.
Interesting.
Okay, if you insist.
Winning. So hand wave. She falls. She blacks out. Next thing she knows, even with the hypnosis, she wakes up in her bed.
Okay, so she even under hypnosis, she doesn't remember anything else.
Correct. And it was later sessions where she was able to get more details about the medical aspect of what was happening to her. I don't want to get too far above PG-13 on that, but you can imagine what happened. Generally, a lot of times,
tap her knee, make sure she's got reflexes, you know, all that. Yeah, what everybody does, doctor.
Usually, it's
Tongue
the
pressure.
insertion of a needle through the navel. However, that wasn't the case with her. Use your imagination. But there was, like weird, generic examinations. Like, say you're not a human and you see a human for the first time. What are you gonna do? They're like
Come at
looking
it
at
with an egg beater.
Yeah.
And egg beater.
Huh. And wait, do I have something egg beater shaped here? Yeah, we'll say this is an egg beater. Huh. It doesn't seem to be doing anything.
It doesn't. It's not working.
And she's not exploding.
She's not. Her brain case should have erupted by now.
So, I love that laughter track. That is the best I can get. So they were doing like drilling into her teeth, taking samples of the bone in her teeth, scraping skin cells, like getting swabs from the mouth. Only one of her interviews did she talk about getting like a sample taken from the corner of her eye.
Oh,
which that also heralds back to the Travis Walton incident, the fire in the sky guy. He had a drill inserted into his eye on his alien abduction. So it's, take that for what it's worth. It feels to me like part of this story might be a little influenced by pop culture.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. So, oh wow, I missed a whole section here. One of the most striking elements of this case is the claim that Javier, UN General Javier, the then Secretary General of the United Nations, was a direct witness to the event. So this was downtown New York City, and according to ufologist Bud Hopkins, who extensively investigated the case, 2 bodyguards assigned to Perez reported seeing the woman levitated from an apartment window into a UFO. These men, known only by pseudonyms in Hopkins's research, were reportedly in a car with the Secretary General near the Brooklyn Bridge when the event occurred. They described feeling an overwhelming sense of paralysis and confusion as they watched the scene unfold. Hopkins, a prominent figure in the field of alien abductions, claimed that the UN General Perez himself had privately acknowledged witnessing something extraordinary, but refused to make any public statements about it. This reluctance to speak fueled speculation about whether he had been warned to stay silent due to political or diplomatic concerns. Despite persistent inquiries from UFO researchers, Perez officially confirmed or denied his involvement, or Perez never officially confirmed or denied his involvement, leaving the truth shrouded in mystery. The presence of multiple witnesses significantly complicates the case, where skeptics argue that mass hysteria or misinterpretation could explain some of the accounts. The consistency in witnesses' testimonies remains a compelling aspect of the incident, and some ufologists believe that the sheer number of individuals who claim to have seen the event suggests that something genuinely extraordinary took place that night.
I like how people like to point to mass hysteria as though it's a common thing.
Right.
So
yeah, like
to
I
be
can't-
clear, mass hysteria is not like somebody has an idea and then somehow ideas are infectious. Like it spreads through everybody's brain case and everybody has the same hallucination. Mass hallucinations or mass hysterias are generally caused by a real event.
Yeah.
Right? Like somebody heard a gunshot and then everybody thinks it's a thing. Right? Like a thing, or everybody heard a car backfire, but everybody interpreted it all at once as gunfire in a crowd.
right.
Right? Example of mass hysteria. The ergot poisonings in Rome, right?
Yeah.
Caused by ergot fungus infecting the local granary of that section of town. Everybody ate it for days and days and days, causing ergot poisoning, i.e., ended up having similar reactions, similar weird behavior, mass hysteria. It's not like humans are like lemmings, where like one person thinks a thing and then somehow everybody's thinking it. It's mass
Right.
hysteria is not so common. So I like how everybody points to it like it's this thing that happens all the time. It's really not. It's a thing that people use to explain away things all the time, but it's not a thing that actually happens all the time, or even much at all. So I think that's funny. They're like, yeah, no, mass hysteria. Everybody saw a UFO that night. Big deal.
Yeah, they're not saying that 1,000 people saw it. They're saying there's like 5 to 10 people saw.
Yeah, but all in different places, not even sharing the same sort of context.
right.
Right? Like some are outside. She was in her bedroom, and the rest were presumably not standing right next to the security guys. They all independently, in their own world, in their own thing, in their own set and setting, saw this same thing out of context.
Yeah.
I mean, out of context with their world, right? That's not how mass hysteria works.
Yeah, it's a nice broad stroke cookie cutter excuse for something happening that they don't understand.
Sure, and I think people use it because they don't want to believe that something happened, and they say it because
Right.
people have said it so much that
Yeah, they
people
say
think,
that-
oh yeah, no, mass hysteria, because that's a thing. It's not a thing. It's not,
Yeah, they
not
hear
like
the
that.
word-
Not the way they're
Hear the word hysteria and UFO, and they're like, "Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Surely they must be crazy. They're hysterical, right?"
right.
So,
Or everybody needing to have a Cabbage Patch Kid when they first released, right? Or
Right.
or the Tickle Me Elmo thing. Those are mass hysterias, right? They're influenced by a common thread that's real. The ergot thing, the San Anthony's fire being an outlier because nobody knew what was going on at the time.
so you ready
The
for some
dance
weird
music.
stuff?
Yeah. Let's
This is
get
where
into
things.
weird stuff.
This is where things start to get a little weird, a little twisted. Let me open one of these, because I'm gonna need it. It's about to get crazy. So after her stuff with Bud Hopkins, Linda goes home, and Bud, being the experienced ufologist, tells Linda, be wary of people. He says, you're going to get weird interactions. And he tells her about the MIB. He's like, you might get these guys start doing weird stuff around you. If you see somebody following you, here's precautions you could take, all this different stuff. So about a week later,
That won't
Linda's
make
at
you
home.
paranoid.
right? And then this happens. Get ready. Linda's at home. Knock on the door. 2 men are standing there in suits. And they say, we're private investigators. We want to talk to you about what happened. So
We're here about your very routine, nothing to be worried about probing that you had the other night in the middle of the night.
right?
Yeah.
So she brings them in. They start talking. She tells them all about what happened. And they say, all right, we're not really private investigators. We work with the CIA. And we want to make sure that this gets investigated fully. We'll be back in contact with you. Just be wary of people following you.
Them coming. Hang on.
Oh, Gear change. Here we go.
Sorry, the Gus almost took down the entire diffusing screen that I have up behind us. Like a whole.
Oh no!
His bed's near the sheet, so he started rolling himself across the sheet. I was like, no,
Oh no!
don't do that. Yeah, so
Right.
I have to say, if two guys in bland black suits showed up and they're like, we're private investigators, and I invited them in, and they're like, okay, let me level with you, we're CIA. I'd be like, I mean, I could have told you that you were CIA.
But wait,
you guys are not subtle.
it gets better. It gets better. So, the following days after the interview with the two CIA operatives, she notices a nondescript white van following her. Everywhere she goes, the van's there,
Because they're so subtle.
right? For weeks, she's followed by this van. And finally, the two guys show back up.
We've just
But
been
they're-
trying to repair your TV. You won't stop.
We've been trying to reach you about your car's extended warranty.
Do you have time to stop and talk about your Lord and Savior Jesus Christ? Don't run away from me.
Why are you running? Why are you running? I need to get that audio clip. So I'm hoping I'm putting this together in the same order that I remember hearing it. So they show up again, and they look a little haggard, right? A little disheveled. Suits are a little messed up. Their hair's all what have you. Come to find out, these guys have been staking her out for weeks, sleeping in the van that's been following her.
Pooping on the street, eating Thai food.
And they force their way into her apartment and kidnap her.
No.
Yes.
Okay.
They take her, drug her, and next thing she knows, she's out in a cabin in the middle of the woods.
Okay.
She's tied up. She's officially a hostage in this situation. And you've got two guys. We're going to call him Normal Guy and Unstable Guy because I don't remember names. Let me get a little more penguin juice. Normal Guy goes to Linda and says, "Hey, I'm going to try to get you out of here. This was Unstable Guy's idea. He's obsessed with you." Come to find out, through the investigation, he's become insatiably in love with her, and he is the reason they've been following her. Also, come to find out, these two guys were the security detail for the UN general guy.
Oh.
This is how they
Okay.
knew. Yeah, so this is how they knew that she was the woman that floated out the window, because they saw her. And the initial conversation went that they were both very worried about the woman. They stood, looked at the building, figured out what floor, figured out what room, went up there a week later and found out who she was. And as soon as they saw her, they immediately realized that this was the woman that they saw floating through the sky. However, Unstable Guy is become infatuated with her, which is why they kidnapped her. Normal Guy is trying to get her out of there. She somehow breaks free, takes off running, but she's out in the countryside now, runs for miles, and eventually they catch her again. But Stable Guy lets her go and gives her the keys of the car. That's my tinfoil hat, sir. Stable Guy lets her go, gives her keys to the car and says, "Go." He's got a gun, and I don't know what he's going to do. She takes off. Yeah, it gets...
So I have to say, so
it gets weirder and weirder as the story goes on, because it half revolves around these two guys stalking her because they saw her floating through the sky. The UN general guy saw, but he didn't want to say anything. However, these two guys were also in the car. They were in the front seat when they saw this all happening. They were the ones that tracked her down. But one dude became infatuated. The other guy's the partner. and he is trying to keep things from escalating. The other one wants this woman, and he's obsessed with her, obsessed with her, obsessed with her.
So I
Go
have
ahead.
to say, man, you and I have known each other a long time. But if we saw this and your solution to me was, hey, man, you know, we need to go check on her. Okay, we'll go. We can check on her. And then finally it turns into, hey, man, I think for her safety, you and I should kidnap this lady. I'd be like, man, you know, I make it a habit of backing your plays, but I think this one, I think we're going to have to think on that one a little bit.
I think what the story was is normal guy tagged along to keep the situation from getting worse.
But
Because he
still
knew that there
help
was-
kidnap her.
Yeah, because he knew there was no stopping the unstable guy. He was going to do it irregardless. Yeah, it gets crazy. Crazy.
For a guy who's supposed to be watching a very important gentleman, I feel like Stable Guy has some logic and
Munchausen's
choice
by
problems.
proxy.
Yeah, he's got some logic and choice problems going on for a guy who's supposed to be watching somebody at such a high level. I feel like his problem solving and follow through are a little flawed.
Yeah, and there's tons of details I know I'm missing because I was not 100% paying attention to the documentary. However, all of this stuff did happen. She gets free. She goes to the police, and the police stake out her apartment. Unstable guy shows up. They arrest unstable guy.
Okay.
So, long story short, there's not much that happens in between. I'm going to wrap up the story with unstable guy. He gets convicted of kidnapping and false imprisonment. Normal guy testifies against him, so he doesn't, and nothing happens with him.
Okay.
Unstable guy goes to a mental hospital, and if I remember correctly, he was released and killed himself immediately after.
Okay.
So he did like 4 or 5 years in a mental hospital, and then couldn't deal with the fact that he was living without Linda. Killed himself.
I mean, I haven't seen Linda. Is Linda like particularly attractive?
Let's pull it up. Let's find out. I've got a whole
Was this
ass
whole event
computer
somehow
right
just
here.
triggering for him and triggered his inner stalker killer.
Oh, how do I spell this lady's name again? Napolitano. Oh yeah, I spelled that horribly wrong. So I guess you could say by like 90s standards, 89, 90 standards. You know, I wouldn't call her a supermodel or nothing, but sure.
I mean,
I could see, you know, not my type, but there's a lot more worse looking women in the world. I'm not trying to judge a woman by her appearance, but, you know, we don't get any pictures of this unstable guy or the normal guy.
what are you saying?
we
If
don't-
he's ugly, he's got lower standards? I mean, what are you trying to say?
Who's to know? Unstable guy, maybe he was like a huge 400-pound dude.
No, I'm just I just wanted to see if there was something striking about her, right? Like some feature, right, that just makes you unable to stop looking. You know, there's that in people that you wouldn't call like front of magazine pretty, but
Right.
they'll have something, right?
Right.
Or they're super unique or something like that. She just looks like a woman in New York.
Yeah, she's just an average woman in New York in '89. So a piece of me.
I was trying to understand what made him like.
Yeah, I think if I remember correctly, there was some stuff where he was paranoid schizophrenic and he was delusional and he was building a whole fantasy around her. And maybe I feel like maybe part of him was just pulled in by the mystery of what happened and is like, oh, a pretty lady, and became infatuated, and it just escalated. You know, the delusional part of his brain took over. And
good thing they gave him a gun. I mean, you know.
right? Yeah. I mean, he ended up doing himself in at the end anyway. So, we're going to get into the investigation and the controversy behind the subject now. Do you need a bathroom break, sir?
Yes.
Okay, we'll do a quick bathroom break, and we'll be back.
Okay.
We are back from doing our human things.
Peeing.
Yes, to prove
It
we
was-
are not aliens.
It was pee.
All right. So, if you really want to go down the rabbit hole with the the two security guard guys, just look up the Manhattan Alien Abduction on YouTube, and you will find the 1 hour and 3 minute long documentary about. Let me see. There you go, right there.
And is it mostly about the abduction? Is that what it ends up being? About her
Yes.
abduction by the guys?
It's mostly about the abduction. However, there is a bunch of stuff that's involved with the two guys. This is the video. It's called Linda Napolitano, the alien abduction case of the century. It is free to watch on YouTube. Half of this video is about her being taken by those two guys.
Oh, okay. Well,
So if you really want to go down the rabbit hole, watch it. It's there. It's a good way to burn an hour. If I can remember, I will put a link to this in the description of this week's episode. However, we're not even done yet. So now we're getting to the investigation. Oh my gosh. We just got botted. Hold on. I got to ban somebody from chat.
Bottity bot bot.
Bibbity bots. And you just got banned.
We know you bots. We are watching.
We see you. Cheap viewers on streamboo.com. We are not advocating people. If you are listening to this and you think, oh, I should go to that website, do not go to that website.
It's a trap.
Yes. Yeah, I'm sorry.
They'll come at night and take your fingerprints.
You
And
wake
I don't
up in the
mean-
morning.
And I don't mean with ink. I mean they'll take the tips of your fingers.
Yep.
Yes.
It happens all the
They'll
time.
take the whole print. Yes.
You'll have little bumply bumps look like you've been soaking in the bathtub for too long, and you realize, I've got no fingerprints.
Oh no, they just take the last knuckle of your finger and they put them all on sticks.
Oh yeah, like what happened to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you. Oh, jeez.
I used
All right.
to have fingerprints.
All right, so now we're going to get a little bit more into Bud Hopkins. So Bud Hopkins meticulously documented Napolitano's case, collecting. Say again.
Sorry. I just thought of something awful.
What? What now?
You remember the structure?
Yes.
Structure. Yar! They took me pink, but left me stink. I'm sorry. I only tell jokes for myself, so I only tell jokes for myself.
Okay.
All right,
We'll
I'm
let you
good.
slide.
I'm done. I made my water. I love
All
right.
Geez. If you're not
All right.
laughing at yourself, then you're not laughing, people. Oh, jeez.
I thought the pirate accent really added to it.
Yeah. I have people all the time at work that they would say, "Oh, this customer's driving me nuts," and the only thing I can think about is that joke I told you about the pirate.
Yes, the pirate in the steering wheel.
Yeah.
That was really good.
It'd be driving me nuts. Yeah, I think that laugh track is going to make this podcast. I think
It's so
it's
good.
official.
It makes somehow having like a bunch of people laugh makes the joke funnier. Like I think that's how old sitcoms got away with it because they'd tell a joke and then
Yeah.
laugh track it and then you would laugh. But if you did the same show with no laugh track, like
Yeah.
half the jokes wouldn't even land.
It's horrible. Yeah.
Yeah, half the jokes won't land because there's no laugh track.
What is it? There's a channel on Instagram that plays like Frasier and Friends, but they delete the backing tracks, so no laughter, no audio.
Nice.
Like, hey, I saw you working out over there. Silence.
Yeah. Yeah, silence. Yeah, see,
It's cool.
And And they pause. They always pause for the laugh track, right?
Yeah.
So when you take the laugh track out, it's just them pausing awkwardly for no reason.
Yeah. Yeah, it's wild. Laugh tracks is just this one looping little 2-second audio is gonna make us.
Live from the simulation.
Live from New York, it's Sunday night. All right. Yeah, you get the idea. Yeah, sorry. I had to do it. I hit
No, it
like
was
4
good.
buttons. I hit 4 buttons.
good.
It felt great. Yeah, the start and stop works great. We need to get the SNL intro theme song. Live,
They'll
live from the
probably, they'll probably have something to say about that.
Oh
eventually.
yeah. Maybe we can get like a AI generated jazz intro track. Live from an underground bunker somewhere out in the Nevada desert. It's Beyond the Shadows podcast.
That's pretty good.
Yeah,
That's pretty good. Way to go.
I'll come up with something. Thank you.
Golf clap.
I don't have a clap. Anyway, we're going to get into the investigation and controversy behind this subject. So Bud Hopkins meticulously documented Napolitano's case, collecting testimony from various sources and presenting it as one of the most compelling alien abduction incidents ever recorded. Excuse me. His research was published in numerous reports and later included in book that explored the phenomenon of alien abductions. Hopkins insisted that Napolitano's story was consistent with other alien abduction cases that he had studied. And he pointed to the involvement of high-profile witnesses as evidence in this case was unique. However, as with many UFO cases, skepticism arose. Critics argued that the accounts given by the so-called bodyguards were unverifiable, and handwritten analysis suggests that the letters were supposedly written by those witnesses had, in fact, been penned by Napolitano herself. So, this is a detail in the research that I forgot to mention, but it was in the documentary. She was getting letters in the mail from the 2 guys before they showed up at her house,
Okay.
saying that they saw the event, they want to make sure she was okay. A bunch of letters went back and forth before they finally showed up. I totally forgot. I'm sorry.
Poor dude decided letters weren't enough.
Yes,
I must have her.
I must take her away to my cabin in the woods. So they're saying that the letters were penned by Napolitano, not the 2 bodyguards.
Okay.
If true, this would suggest that either an elaborate hoax or, at the very least, an embellishment of the story. Further doubt was cast on the case when Hopkins's ex-wife, Carol Rainey, publicly questioned his investigative methods. Rainey suggested that the story had been exaggerated and that Hopkins, in his zeal to prove the existence of alien abductions, may have overlooked the inconsistencies in Napolitano's narrative. Some skeptics also pointed to the possibility of sleep paralysis or fabricated memories as explanations for Napolitano's experience, which is what we talked about towards the middle of the episode. We touched on sleep paralysis, sure, but unfortunately, Bud Hopkins does have a little bit of a reputation for inserting his own narrative into the subject while under suggestive hypnosis state.
Which is why everybody discounts everything he's worked on now, whether
Well,
it's good.
Some of the things, not all of the things. I could probably say without a doubt that if he did regression hypnosis with a guy, you could probably take that to the bank.
Gotcha, because he didn't have an interest in that lean.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Revoked.
Standing on that side of the fence, so to speak.
Yes. Yeah. He was into one type of plumbing only. Let's say that.
Plumbing.
Yeah. Laughter track. It makes it all better.
I like how in the laughter tracks there's always that one dude laughing way too hard. Play it
Is
again
there?
and listen. That one there at the end.
The loud clapping. That's me. That's me. I'm that guy. If the joke is funny enough that I know you're recording, I'm going to make a fool of myself. Yeah.
That's funny.
I have no shame. Sleep paralysis, a well-documented phenomenon, can cause vivid hallucinations that feel extraordinarily real, leading some to believe that Napolitano's experience may have resulted in a dreamlike state rather than an actual abduction. Additionally, many researchers question why no conclusive physical evidence exists to support Napolitano's claims. While she maintained that she suffered physical after effects from the abduction, such as unexplained marks on her body and emotional distress, no scientific tests have confirmed any alien involvement. The lack of video footage, despite the incident reportedly taking place in a densely populated city, has also led skeptics to question the credibility of the event. However, I'm going to say it was 1989 in New York City. How many people were looking up in the night sky?
I mean, you can't see much. It's in the middle of the city.
Right.
You just see black.
So
Many lights.
I'm gonna ask you a question, and I would prefer you to answer honestly.
In the 1990s, I would have been looking up in New York City because I would have been looking for a Ninja Turtle jumping from one building to the other because I thought
Right?
that shit was true.
So let me ask you today,
Mm-hmm.
when was the last time you were outside and you looked up for an extended period of time? At night.
I mean, so I have a
More
dog.
More than just, oh, cool. Back to what I was doing.
Oh, no, it's been a long time.
Right.
Yeah, not unless I'm outside of town and I know that I'm going to be able to see, like, stars, and they'll, like, flop out on the ground. But, no, I mean, at night I look up, but all you can see in town here is the moon. That's it. You can't see anything.
I'm sorry.
Come on.
And that's why you need to move to the eastern coast, because there's little to no light pollution here.
Oh, my God.
Let's
I
say,
knew something was coming.
I'm just, so I do have a really high-end camera that I do take outside every now and again at night. When we lost Chicken and I was working nights on my days off, I would go outside with my camera and I would set up a tripod and I would take timed exposures at the stars. So
nice.
clear. Yeah, I would get the cool streak. And because I got so used to at night, I would take him out or what have you, or, take him out during the day. So what, my natural reaction is if I'm awake, I have something that needs to go outside.
Mhm.
So I would go outside and I would look up at the night sky. And I guess it kind of stuck, even to this day, like, but a day ago, 2 days ago, I went outside. I spent probably 10 minutes looking up because I saw a perfect triangular formation of stars. I was like, is that a UFO? Tell me it's UFO.
Move.
I'm like,
Move.
I was like, the one time I don't have my phone on me. No. And I watch, and I'm squinting, I'm like, no, they twinkled. That's a star. All right, poop. Let's go. Poop already. Back to watching the dog run around. But yeah, I often look up, especially since we started the podcast.
Mhm.
But here in the Eastern Shore, like I know the population density that you have over there.
Mhm.
You are very, very, very landlocked, as opposed to me. A half mile this way is the ocean.
Mhm.
Well, bay side of the ocean, but still, you're not going to get any light pollution. I couldn't tell you off the top of my head how many people live in town, but it's not many. my town is so small that off at a distance, you will not see the light from my town when you're approaching it in the middle of the night. But, anywho, I look up a lot, but pushing the point forward was you don't often look up because you're in the city and you know there's nothing to look at.
Yeah.
So, New York City, probably the worst light pollution you can get in the country.
Oh, I'm sure.
Next to Las Vegas.
Yep, right.
Yeah, the only thing you're going to see is the moon.
Two cities that are at least as awake at night as they are during the day.
Right. So there's no reason to look up unless you hear a low flying helicopter or something.
Right.
So I don't give the point of not having much in the way of witnesses or video evidence. 1989, how many people had what are we working with, camcorders back then?
Yeah, people aren't going to have them. Plus, they were like,
yeah, shoulder mounted. Absolutely.
Yeah, VHS camera. Yeah.
Yeah. And if you did have one, you weren't outside wasting your film pointing at the night sky.
Right. Or, frankly, even filming at night much, because it wouldn't look.
Yeah. Yeah, there
it wasn't good.
Let's look at 1989 camcorder.
Yep. Oh, look, there's a little one. There's one. There's
I
one.
remember
Most
these.
of them are not. And that one on the third row down there, third over, third down, that is not a 1989 camera.
No, that's like a 2004.
Yeah, that's an early 2000s camera. So,
I have one of those back here behind me.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I remember when that was for sale in Best Buy in my adult life.
I think
that
this
is more correct.
Yeah. Open image and new tab.
Yeah, the Super VHS. That was what everyone was filming anything on if you had a
monstrosity.
Yeah.
Kids today, you don't understand how good you got it. When you want to record a video, all you gotta do is this.
Mm-hmm.
Back when we were kids, when we wanted to record video, it was, hold on, turn it on. Okay, hold on, give me a second. The film is loading, or the VHS tape's loading. Okay, cool. On your shoulder, put your eye to the eyepiece, flip it to record, press the button. Now you're recording.
Then you realize your 8D batteries are dead.
Yes. Yes.
You go to turn it on, you got you got a tiny sliver. There was no percentage. You had a tiny sliver, or one of the many little bars across there, dead, of your 8D batteries. So it was like carrying, 10 pounds of batteries.
Let me see if I've got a VHS tape behind me here.
In case they don't know what VHS tape size is. Oh my God, are we that old?
We are.
That we think the people watching this would not know the size and shape of a VHS tape?
Okay, no, I don't have any. I moved them all downstairs when I reorganized. But
that's something that's not coming back. While records have come back because they have some sort of charm, VHS tapes are not coming back.
We're talking a cassette tape the size of my head.
Yes. I mean, that's a good description.
Yeah, a book, a tablet. So this is my iPad.
Yeah, it was almost that size. You could eat off of it.
Just a little bit more narrow than an iPad. Probably like 2/3 of an iPad.
Yep.
So it's just beyond me why they would think
there should have been video evidence.
There should have been video evidence in 1989. Yeah.
Yeah. Plus, they were expensive, dude.
Yeah. I mean,
they were expensive. Unless you had kids, you just didn't really buy them.
The closest we could get to video evidence on VHS was the Phoenix Lights.
Right.
And we just got lucky because somebody was outside, saw it, and they happened to have one charged and ready to go in a closet.
Yeah, if you think of home camcorders, much like what people film predominantly on social media now, it's their pets, their kids, and then everybody else just films porn.
Hefner's here, by the way. Hefner says, trying to tell people how big an old media cartridge was by telling them it was bigger than a version of an old media cartridge. Yeah.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
That's why I held up the iPad as a reference. So
An old media cartridge that was bigger than an old media cartridge. That's
yeah,
funny.
I've got tons of cassette tapes behind me.
I like that.
Let's see.
No,
How
that
many-
was a fair point.
How many cassette tapes can we put together to make a VHS tape?
It was like 6 of them.
Yeah, so that's 3. That's about half. That's about half of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe a little bit bigger. Maybe like 3.5.
You mean long?
3.5 tall. Maybe 4.
I was going
don't
the
know.
other way. I was saying like if you were holding it on its side, it'd be like 3 wide by 2 tall. Yeah.
Oh,
but wide.
that feels about right. 4 tall. 2 of these side by side.
Yeah.
4 by 2 is the dimensions, and then, oh geez, shame on me. I have cassette tape. Shame on me. So like 3 wide, yeah, that's about right.
Yeah.
3 cassette tapes thick. Yeah, I've got. That's how old I am. Mixtapes.
You could be really silly and be like, it was slightly bigger than a Betamax.
Wait, what?
Do you have a Betamax? Surely
No,
not.
I don't. I've got a few. I've got a few 8-tracks back there.
Oh, okay. Yeah. It was different dimension than an 8-track and slightly bigger than a Betamax. Yeah, that'll get it across.
Right. Yeah. Oh, but it's 1989. Nobody is out there in the middle of the night in New York City with a camcorder on their shoulder, ready to film whatever they see in the night sky, especially in New York City.
Yeah.
Maybe here where I am, less where you are, but not quite as less as New York City. I think we've agreed that New York City has probably the second most light pollution compared to Las Vegas.
Right.
I don't think that the lack of video evidence is
A detractor.
it's not a foot to stand on.
Yeah.
Simple
Not
as
an
that.
Everything
Yeah.
has lack of video evidence then.
Well, yeah, 1989. Come on. So at the time, let's see. Let's go back to this. See how much this cost in 1989. Reddit for the win. In the early 90s, a decent VHS or 8mm camcorder would set you back $900 to $1,500.
Okay.
Somewhere
so then
around
put in
somewhere around
Go ahead.
$1,600 in the late 80s.
Okay, so then you go in and you put in what in if you account for inflation, how much would $1,600 in the 1980s be worth today?
Oh yeah, that's right here. With inflation, that amounts to $1,500 to $3,000 today.
Okay, yeah.
And furthermore, credit was not as easy to come by either. So most people were stuck with whatever was for sale at Sears or Radio Shack. Many DV camcorders replaced Hi8 or SVHS tapes by 2001, but that kept the price up.
Yeah.
So in the U.S., easily from between $700 and $1,500.
Yeah, it wasn't like when you go to buy your new $1,500 iPhone where they always have a payment plan.
Yeah.
As part of your getting the thing. There was no
This
payment
was
plan.
back in the day. If you didn't know the manager of the store, you had to pay cash in hand for the entire thing.
Yep.
$3,000. Can you imagine spending $3,000 on this monstrosity only to carry it on your shoulder? Yeah, I don't feel good just saying it because I know my dad had one, but he did dumb shit with it. Like he didn't record the family, he didn't record the camping trips. But I remember finding like VHS tapes of him doing stop motion animation with Lego characters.
Oh my god.
I mean, kudos to the guy for doing stop motion in the early 90s, before it was really a thing. If I could find that video today, it would probably be worth a little bit of money. But 89? Yeah. Video evidence. I hate that this research brought up the fact that the lack of video evidence was a negative aspect of this case.
Yeah.
1989. Come on. Come in. How you doing, Hef? I see you there. Hey, buddy. Glad you're here. All right, let me see where we left off before I got all wrapped up in this 1989 footage stuff. All right, so now we're down to... Hey, yep, I see your sweet little... your Jake emojis, dude. Those are really cool. I'm a big Adventure Time fan. Big Adventure Time fan. I'm glad you're here, friend. I hope you're doing well. So we're down to the lasting impact and continuing debate about the subject. By the way, Hef, tonight we are talking about the Manhattan Alien Abduction, where this woman was sucked out of her window and carried up to a UFO in the heart of New York City back in 1989. It was viewed by a UN general and his two bodyguards, and one of those two bodyguards became completely infatuated with the woman and kidnapped her. So we are down to our last little bit of research. So it says, despite the controversies, the Brooklyn Bridge abduction, which is what they're calling it here, remains a compelling case in UFO history. The combination of Napolitano's vivid testimony, the alleged involvement of high-profile witnesses, and the widespread media coverage ensued that the story continued to be debated well into the 21st century. Even today, discussions in the case surface in documentaries, books, and online forums dedicated to the UFO phenomena. I.e., last year, November on Netflix, the 3 or 4 part series came out documenting this. I'm yet to see it. It looks good. I just haven't seen it yet. But I have seen the documentary from 2001, 2002, something like that. So for believers, the case represents one of the most significant pieces of evidence supporting extraterrestrial intervention on Earth. Many point to Napolitano's unwavering conviction, the psychological impact of the event, and the corroborating eyewitnesses' accounts as proof that something extraordinary happened. Ufologists argue that skepticism alone is not enough to dismiss the case, and that a lack of concrete evidence does not equate to evidence of absence. That's the side of the fight I'm on, is I don't think that just because there's no evidence, a lack of evidence doesn't prove it didn't happen. That's always the point of view I'm going to take. For skeptics, it remains a cautionary tale about the dangers of unverified claims and the influence of suggestion in shaping personal experiences. They argue that mass hysteria, there's those words again, sleep disorders and psychological factors can easily explain the event without resorting to extraterrestrial explanations. But the role of the media sensationalism in perpetuating alien abduction stories also comes into question, as some believe such cases thrive on public fascination rather than factual evidence. Ultimately, the truth behind Linda Napolitano's abduction, whether a UN Secretary General truly witnessed it, remains an enigma, locked away in the annals of UFO history. As new investigations into UFOs continue, including government disclosures and declassified documents related to unidentified aerial phenomena, UAPs, perhaps one day new evidence will emerge that sheds light onto what really happened that night in 1989. But until then, the Brooklyn Bridge abduction remains one of the most captivating and debated alien encounter cases of all time. So, this is the bulk of the research. However, I had a really great train of thought while I was reading that, and I totally forgot it. Wow. Oh, yes. So, one more thing that came up in the documentary that I watched yesterday was the UN general saw what happened. His bodyguards saw what happened. The UN general did not disclose that he saw anything because now
Tinfoil hat time.
He did not say anything because the United States government, as well as the UN, was in cahoots with the Greys to keep their mouths shut. We were getting technology from the Greys, and the trade-off was we
don't
would keep
talk
our
about
mouths
the
shut.
It's like Fight Club.
Exactly.
First rule of knowing the Greys. First rule of knowing about Greys is you don't talk about the Greys.
Yes. It's funny you say
Yeah.
that because I just listened to the audiobook a couple days ago.
A Fight Club?
Yeah,
That's funny.
it's good.
It's funny.
It's really good. Yeah,
It's a good book.
it's great. I love Chuck Palahniuk. I've listened to all of his books. Well, back when we lived together, I read all of them.
I was gonna say I don't think there's one I haven't read unless he's put one out in the last couple of years.
I think he put one out just recently. I don't remember. It's been a minute. Spotify Premium has got them all free audiobooks. I listen to whenever I can. So, you can find a lot of this information on YouTube, on most websites, any major news outlet, because she did a full disclosure after all this stuff went sideways with the two investigators, her getting kidnapped. I think so. Personally, when I hear that something is printed in USA Today, I'm like, oh, it's fact, because I love USA Today. That was, in elementary school. You remember in elementary school, they would do the test and they would be like, what do you want to be when you grow up? Everybody was like, I want to be an astronaut. I want to be a fireman. I want to be a paleontologist. But in elementary school, I always said I wanted to be a writer for USA Today, because from an early age, I've always had this correlation in my mind that whatever USA Today prints is unbiased and true.
Well, it used to be true of journalism.
Yeah.
There was a time when
20 plus years ago,
meant
journalism
something.
was very true.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Or Time. If it came out in Time magazine, you were like, oh,
Yeah.
facts.
Or National Geographic.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
Exactly. I was the kid that said I wanted to be a pirate.
Really?
I mean, how little are we talking?
Elementary school?
Yeah, maybe. Maybe.
I think
I was a weird kid.
It started off for me. I wanted to be a
pirate.
I wanted to be a paleontologist because of Jurassic Park. But then, at the same age, I started reading the newspaper, and the only newspaper we got was USA Today. So that was the one luxury we did have growing up, was we had a really nice newspaper.
Yeah, I think in first grade I would have said space pirate.
I think it was like third grade.
Oh, okay. No, but third grade I'd given up all those childish dreams.
childish dreams of being a space pirate.
Being a space pirate, yeah.
So what was your thing when you were a kid? What did you want to be when you grew up?
I legitimately, for the first part of my life, actually wanted to be a doctor and possibly a surgeon. That was the vein that I was studying in. That's why I started my degree in chemistry and biology.
Really?
And then it switched to plant science. My original plan was, because I was seeing all kinds of pretty advanced changes in what we were doing with like disease-resistant crops with genes. Gene editing at the time was about using viruses to implant new sections of DNA. Right, you'd modify the virus, and then you'd use the virus to inject new sections of DNA. It was very hit and miss, right? It was about statistics, right? It wasn't like CRISPR now, where you can like insert. It was very hit and miss. But a lesser known thing that they managed to do with sheep, besides the cloning of one with Dolly, the sheep, right? They managed to make a breed of sheep produce insulin in their milk, like in large quantities.
Oh, right.
As a heavy protein, and it was very easy to filter out, and it made insulin in huge volumes, because sheep produce quite a lot of milk per size, right? More per their size than cows. just not super tasty. But when I saw that, I was like, oh, except livestock on the scale of farm products, livestock is always more expensive than the crops, right? Because you feed crops and water and time into these animals that could still die, right? And you've already fed water and nutrients into the crops, right? So it's like a third, it's a tertiary crop,
Right.
secondary crop. And so my thought was, well, if all you need is something that produces protein to produce most of these carbon, left-handed carbon molecules, which is most of what pharmacology, it's very fancy carbon molecules. My thought was, well, there's a whole lot of plants that produce a whole lot of protein, like soybeans, like hemp. Those things both produce a ton of protein in their seeds. And I was like, if they could do it with the milk of a sheep, you could do it with a crop, and then you'd really have a thing going, right? It'd be super cheap.
Yeah.
Except one of my professors clued me into something I guess I should have seen. He's like, okay. He's like, how much insulin do you think is currently being produced by sheep? I was like, I don't know, how much? Like, I was super interested. He's like, none. I was like, well, why? He's like, because it was funded by a university, and then no one ever picked up the funding. Do you know why? I was like, no, why? Why would you not? He's like, because now you've
Insulin
made
in a
it
pharmaceutical setting.
Because
Yeah.
now you've made it cheaper, and it's harder
Yeah.
to justify higher prices. He's like, also, and this was, this was 2007, 8-ish, and he was like, also, he's like, might I direct your attention to the cost of insulin year over year? I was like, okay. I mean, surely it's like the same or less. He's like, no, it increases by a steady rate every year. I was like,
Yeah.
but it's been around for like almost 100 years. He's like, right. I was like, oh. He's like, yeah, no one's going to fund your research. He's like, or a university might, and you could live the academic life forever. He's like, but it'll always be an academic thing because somebody's got to buy it. Somebody's got to buy it and want it. I was like, well, surely somebody will want it. He's like, who? He's like, oh. He's like, and what you're talking about is very advanced and very expensive. Doable. That's the way things are going. He's like, but nobody's gonna want it, because in the end you're destroying an entire industry. So you're asking that industry to fund the thing that's gonna destroy them. I was like, oh.
Yeah.
So after 2 years of that, I dumped that degree and moved into fine arts. That's how I became an artist.
And now you're a podcaster.
Yes. So yeah, I wanted to be a doctor. I wanted to be a researcher and a doctor. That was chemistry was my thing. Chemistry and pharmacology was my thing. Still a huge amount of interest in it. Yeah, surprise. So I took it up as a hobby instead. Became a walking science lab instead of working in one.
Yeah. Independent studies.
Yes, I am my own independent study.
Yeah, that's right. But yeah, it's so like this was reported on USA Today. This was reported in the New York Times.
Mhm.
But in 1989, you got to think. So we were dealing with a technology boom at the time.
Mhm.
Everybody was more crazy about the technology boom than they were about this happening.
Mhm. Sure.
So a lot of what happened with Linda Napolitano was swept under the rug, and it fell to the wayside. And if I remember correctly, there was even stuff like she was like, they cut me here, they injected here and here, and the places that they injected, they found weird scars that they couldn't quite explain.
Interesting.
But I think like doctors were like, oh, it's a birthmark, but like, well, would I have 3 birthmarks exactly the same in 3 different parts of the body?
Right.
And they were like, oh, well, you're a woman. It's 1989. Who cares? And it just went away. Unfortunately, that's the way it was back in 1989. I think today, this story would have been received a lot better. Um, but, you know, on the flip side of that coin, then we're also dealing with the stuff with Bud Hopkins. I have a negative bias towards Bud Hopkins. I don't like the guy. He did do a lot with the regression hypnosis part of ufology. But he did do some unsavory stuff, and I don't like him. So I don't put a lot of weight in what Bud Hopkins does. So we've come to the part of the episode where, what do you think?
What do I think? So this has a lot of weird angles. So the one crazy guy, right? Which tends to make you be like, oh, whatever, he's a crazy guy. But then you also have the woman, and you can be like, oh, she doesn't, it was sleep paralysis. But I think, you're starting to wear Occam's razor a little dull, cutting things away.
Yeah.
Cutting coincidences away, right? Because you also have the partner who didn't get committed, and he went along with him for a long way on this strange trip of his, on the strength of them seeing this lady come out of her window and float up into the sky.
Yeah.
So for both of them to have had that experience and her report it, not knowing each other previously, and then the UN general not wanting to talk about it at all, not being like, no, I didn't see that, but just not being willing to talk about it at all. I think something happened. I think you could even argue it was compelling enough to make the one dude unstable over it. I think it's. Did they ever cover, like, you said there was some mention about, maybe the letters were fabricated. Did the guys say that they never wrote them?
I was not able to confirm it.
Okay.
In the lineage of the story, the way it's told was the letters were written by the guys because they were unnerved about just going up and talking to her, cold calling her. You should watch the documentary. It would fill in that blank a little bit better than I can.
Well, here's what I'm saying, because even if they had spent the time to write the letters to her, right? Unless you're saying her reading the letters made the whole suggestion in her head in the first place, and it's just the guy's hallucination, which again, I think you're dulling the blade on that one.
Yeah.
I think having three different people, having experienced her going up in the spaceship, her and the two guys seeing it, and possibly the general. I think that her floating out her window and floating up into the sky, I think that happened. What it was, I don't know that it proves the existence of aliens, but I think it certainly proves something strange and paranormal happened. Right?
Right.
Even if you're going to say, oh, they all had the same hallucination. Okay, yeah, them on the street and her up in her apartment, all three of them had the same hallucination, still paranormal.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think that's what it was. But I'm
Yeah.
saying still paranormal. Because that's not what a mass hallucination is. That's not what that is. Two people in bed together and they both had the experience of like going up in a UFO, right? I could be like, okay, you guys watched something that night and forgot about it. You had some shared experience and then you both had sleep paralysis. Like I could hear you talk your way into that, right?
Yeah.
But guys down on the street that are awake, her in her bed up in her room, they see her come out, completely different perspective from what she's experiencing. I think it was something weird.
Yeah.
And I guess I don't have anything else to attribute it to other than an alien abduction. I don't think it was ghosts.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I think it's solid. I think it's solid. Also, I think people like her get ridiculed for this sort of, talking about this sort of thing. I don't think.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess there was a documentary in 2001, and she did have some stories written about her. Is that enough to then be the crazy lady that said she was abducted by a UFO? I don't know. It wouldn't be enough for me to tell it if that happened to me. Tell getting in USA Today would not be enough for me to be willing to tell the public. If that was something I experienced and I was sure it happened, that would still not get me to tell people publicly about it.
Right.
Like the idea that I'd be in news stories on TV, that's actually more scary for me. I want that even less. So, I don't know. I think I'm going to call it paranormal.
All right. So let me give you my side of the story. What I think.
Okay.
So, the biggest thing of this story is I feel like it was overshadowed by this great technology boom right around 1990. So you got to think, my brain goes straight to like Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis. We were dealing with this amazing technology at the time.
Yeah.
In hindsight, not so much, but in the 90s,
At the time, magic.
yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Wizardry and magic.
Everything about. I'm using gaming as the example because that's what I know the best, and that's what captivated my attention in the 90s was video games. My mind was solely on, oh my gosh, Super Nintendo. I've got to go out and play this game. I've got to play Sega Genesis. I've got to, Sega Game Gear. What is that? Handheld? Oh my gosh, that doesn't make sense to me. It's not plugged into a wall.
Right.
Technology was growing exponentially at that point, and we were getting cell phones. They were becoming mainstream at that point. People were paying more attention to technology at the time, and we're getting more of this,
Right.
and not much of this.
Right.
Looking up at the night sky, which is the crux of this entire investigation, was this woman floated out of her apartment window. At the time, I can't see anything in popular culture that could manipulate her train of thought to make her think that this was a good story to tell, unless it really happened. So we do have some examples. So from Betty and Barney Hill up to the Travis Walton incident, mix the two together, you kind of get what happened here, but you don't. I feel like this entire situation was unique, and it landed at just the right time that it fell between the cracks. You see what I'm saying?
Well, I liken, people telling about the UFO experience to someone taking acid for the first time. So here's how that goes.
Yeah.
Someone takes LSD for the first time, and you think that you've discovered something amazing. Granted, other people discovered it too. But you go and tell a friend who's never done it and try to relay what it was like.
Yeah.
Always terrible in the retell, right? Like the thing where it's like you on the LSD trip, you telling your friend about it, right? And it has like the grainy silly bad drawing of a giraffe, and then the giraffe with like bright lights behind it.
Yeah,
it's kind of like that. So but you think you should definitely tell them, because they'll be like, oh my god, right? I think often folks that have had these experiences, these UFO experiences, like, oh my god, all I have to do is tell somebody, right? And they'll immediately get how important this was. But instead, what you're met with is, are you okay? Did you go off your medication? That's the response people get. They never get, really?
Yeah.
That's never the, but that's what you think, because because it happened to you, right? So you think as soon as you tell somebody, even like somebody that knows you, that they'll know that you're not making it up, and instead what you get is
yeah.
So I can see why she went out and told the story, but I'm unsurprised by the reaction she got.
Exactly. That's what I'm getting at. Is she told? I feel like she told a legitimate story of what legitimately happened to her. You know, I can't think of anything that I've done that, you know, one high profile plus just two bodyguards had seen. You know, let alone 4 or 5 people I've seen that could corroborate what I've done. You know, so put yourself into her shoes. I can't think of what I could compare in my life, what I've done outside of podcasting, what people have seen in great numbers.
Yeah, my
And
whole
we're
life.
talking exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So 1989 in New York City, nobody was looking up. Nobody. There's no reason to look up at the night sky. There's no reason outside of a few people just happened to look up and see what happened to corroborate an incredible, very surreal situation happening. And I think this really happened. And this seems right on par with the time that it happened and just a handful of people saw it. And, I'm not going to say whether or not, the UN guy, he said the famous line, the one that I love so much, he can neither confirm nor deny.
Yeah.
So
why would you not, if you didn't see it, why wouldn't you just be like, no, of course I didn't see that. We were just driving through New York. What do you mean?
Yeah.
Why would I see something like that? Why would you say that?
It goes back to my favorite quote from Obama when he was giving
Right.
when he was giving Will Smith and his son a tour of the White House, and his son said, have you ever talked about aliens or UFOs? And he pulled him into the Situation Room. He said, look, I can't tell you whether we did or didn't talk about it, but if we did, it was in this room.
Right. It's your best way. It's your only way of saying yes.
Yeah, it's what do they call it? Plausible deniability.
Right. You never said yes, but the implied
you-
with a hammer is
Right.
yes.
But you didn't say no.
Right.
So, it comes back, in my eyes, it hits just as hard as saying yes as it does saying no. So,
Yeah, because
I
he would have no reason. In my mind, he would have no reason he couldn't say no.
right.
Right? I'm sure he'd have reasons why he can't say yes, but he have no reason to not be like, no, they're crazy. I didn't see anything.
Yeah.
I didn't see
Yeah,
anything. That's not a big deal.
It's so easy to just deny it.
Right.
No,
But instead
no,
he chose to be like, I can't confirm it or deny it. Like,
Right.
that seems big to me.
It might as well be a yes.
Right.
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 Yeah,
Because
so-
it's not like you're talking about, did you kill the president of Russia? Well, I can't confirm or deny that. No, we're asking you if you saw a lady get floated out of her room and sucked up into the sky. Why would you not be able to deny that?
Yeah. Then it comes back
You
to
chose
the other
not
side of
to.
the conversation is, did the UN have something to do with the Greys? Is the UN allowing a Grey train to run on
Miss
a
Politano?
Grey? Yeah.
On the
Did
citizens of the
Did
on the
Miss
citizens of the
Napolitano
world?
get a Grey train run on her? So it's I don't want to go down that rabbit hole quite yet, but I am not confirming or denying the fact that they were that they were part of what really happened.
I mean, I think
So-
it's plausible if you're gonna again, if you're gonna play the let's call this a fact thing. If you're gonna say, let's call it a fact that aliens exist and they also communicate with high level sections of some governments. Why would, of all places, the UN not have some knowledge of it?
Right. Yeah. If any place would have a say or knowledge of extraterrestrial involvement in everyday society, it would be the UN.
Yeah, why would they not?
United Nations, literally the group that is a group of all of the nations of the world.
Especially
that would be
when
the
you're
group.
talking about something as heady as another life form visiting this planet.
Yeah.
That's more than one nation can tackle. right?
Yeah.
The what ifs and the planning of and the strategizing about is much more than a single nation can cover. And you're going to want to see if you can feel out whether or not other countries have had similar encounters. And the meeting place of all that, the neutral meeting place of all that, is UN ambassadors.
So I'm curious. I'm just gonna. I want to know what country
Plus,
he
people talk.
represented.
People can't help but talk.
Bibbidi bibbidi. I'm scrolling. I'm gonna Google this guy's name, and I want to know what country he is from. So he was from January 1920 to March of 2020,
Dang.
a Peruvian diplomat and politician who served in the 5th Secretary General of the United Nations from 1982 to 1999, Prime Minister of Peru.
Don't get me started on South American countries and UFOs.
And that's why I brought it up.
And secret.
That's
Oh my
precisely
God.
why I brought it up.
Oh my God. I don't.
Are we seeing a mesh?
Yes.
Is this
Yes.
coming together?
Yes. I think so. I
Dude
think
is
so,
the
yeah.
UN representative of Peru.
Yes.
And between me and you, we have talked about it at length. We haven't talked about it on the podcast yet.
Nope. No.
We're not entirely sure y'all are ready for this yet.
It's just north. It's just north of the great black hole of all the weirdest information kept secret from everywhere.
It really is.
Oh my God!
I
That's
don't know why I
ridiculous.
didn't. I don't know why I
That's
didn't put that
ridiculous.
together until just now. Ah, jeez. Yeah. Wow. Ah, jeez, man. Yeah, there's a huge Wikipedia page about him. Interesting. There's a nice little rabbit hole for you to go down. Anyway, so I think we can both agree that something really paranormal really happened here. Yes. So we're gonna give it a ding.
Yes. That's a ding.
That's a
That's
ding. This really happened. So hot damn. What a good episode. Yeah, that was I wasn't sure because usually I've got like 4 to 5 pages of research to go off of while we're talking. And this one was like 3.5 pages, and I was like, there was a piece of me that was thinking maybe I should put together another half episode worth of data just to fill in some blank, but I think this one really kind of checked a lot of boxes for us.
Yeah, the number of witnesses, different vantage points, different. Like, you know, she was asleep, they were awake, they were on the street, she was up in her apartment.
Yeah.
They were just going about their day. She was, you know, the one being abducted. They didn't know each other. They felt compelled to reach out to her and then follow her and stake out her place.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, the one dude was obsessed with her, but his partner went along with it.
Yeah, it brings a whole different facet.
He
when
had
you-
to have seen something to convince him that something was up.
So
He went along with it.
My brain is telling me, between what me and you know about Peruvian politics, why they were stalking her.
Can't let people know.
Yeah.
Can't let people know.
One of these days we're gonna have to really tell everybody. And
I don't have enough yet.
we're getting there.
When I do, we'll get canceled.
Yeah. This whole YouTube channel, Spotify, everything's gonna just delete off the face of the planet, and the only thing remaining is what's gonna be on my server.
Yeah.
And we're gonna reproduce and broadcast until it's heard. So, Jeez, what an episode. Jeez. Yeah. Looking at the documentary, I was unsure how well this was going to connect with you, but once I saw the connection to the Peruvian
That's
government.
very good. That's very good. And Peru's not the one, but it's the, it's right nearby.
Yeah.
And I think I think it's a testament to how good South America is at keeping secrets, because nobody would think, right? When you think of like, what countries are doing the best at hiding the most, I think the fact that South America doesn't come up at all is a great indicator.
Yeah.
That's a great indicator.
Well, look, let me use the bathroom right quick and we'll do our closing statements, sir.
Okay. I gotta pee.
Yep, me too. All right.
I drink
So-
3 of these tall cans of tea. I'm floating.
Usually I do like 2 of my penguin drinks. I'm on number 4. That's usually a sign to how involved I am. Because like when I was doing college stuff, I would slam sodas for energy drinks. Because when I'm working, when I'm doing the schoolwork, I was, my brain needs the food. And to show you what I mean, when I'm on the paranormal side of that aspect, my brain needs a different kind of food. A very specific chemical that only comes in the shape of a penguin can. So, the wife is downstairs, but the door has been open, and I think she's been listening. She watched part of the documentary with me yesterday, so I think she's partially involved. So, we both agreed that this was a legitimate paranormal experience.
Mm-hmm.
And there's been lots of geez, I don't want to use the word cover up, but there was some questionable tactics taken by specific people involved in this case. That one day, once Aeon has all this information put together, we will do disclosure and we will explain all of this to you. And you're gonna go back and you're gonna listen to this episode and you'll be like, "What are they talking about?" And
This and several others actually at this point.
oh, geez,
We've hinted
yeah,
at it
like,
quite a bit. Yeah, we've hinted at it quite a bit.
like
It's
3
been
or
a-
4 or 5 episodes.
Been a
Easy.
almost a. I'm going on a 2-year search now. Of
Yeah.
this.
And then
So-
how long before we started the podcast were we talking about it? A year, easy.
Easily. Yeah.
And then how long before we were talking about it?
I mean,
5 years
I-
before that.
I first saw the thing that I'm looking for that explains all of it. I first saw it in 2019.
So, yeah.
So a long
There's-
time.
Did you ever find that
I-
movie?
No.
No, I haven't either. I've tried a number of times.
Yeah, I've tried looking for it. I mean, I can almost recite it now. You know, scene by scene. No. Same with the documentary. I have found so many linking things too that I can point to, and you'd be like, "Oh yeah, but that's coincidence. Oh yeah, but that's coincidence." But when you line it all up, it's like. But if I just put that stuff forward, they'd be like, "Okay, so where's the documentary?" So I got to get a hold of the documentary first. That's what I'm looking for. That's my great dragon to slay.
I'm going to say, and it's only because this comes up in research for me.
Mm-hmm.
You should try. There's a Reddit thread
Mm-hmm.
where people are trying to remember what movie they watched,
Mm-hmm.
and they describe a bunch of stuff. And once you, Reddit is a very powerful tool.
Mm-hmm.
If you get the right people on Reddit to start looking, somebody will find it. I promise you. Don't be scared of Reddit. They're good people. Most of them.
I was gonna
Not all
say.
of 'em.
I was gonna say. Yeah. Reddit's a
Hold
mixed
on.
bag.
Wait, hold on. Let me rewind. Yep, swip. No, Reddit is good people. Yeah. So,
That's funny.
yeah. But seriously though, I will see if I can find that page I was looking at a while back
Mhm.
and send you a link to it and join the Reddit thread and see if you can't drop something in there. See if we can find this damn movie, and then we'll do a role reversal and let you do all the talking.
Oh man, it would be a 3-part episode.
Probably.
It'd be a 3-part episode. Even about the crash of my recording studio. The whole thing. Oh my God.
Just, jeez.
The great calamity.
Listeners at home, you don't even know, before at least a year before we started recording this podcast, there was so much involved into this conversation about South America, specifically that Peruvian area, that made an impact on what we do today, that it won't make sense. So like, I'm imagining like 2 or 3 seasons down the road, you're gonna be like, okay, I've got it all together. Next week, let's do the Peruvian episode, and I'll be like, no,
It's Argentina. It's Argentina.
You got it? Or
It's
Argentina? Yeah. I say Peruvian because we were talking about tonight. You're gonna be like, let's do the Argentinian website, or let's do the Argentinian episode, and I'll just be like, no, you got it, and you'll be like, I got it, and hush tones from the audience as you listen, as they listen to what you have to say. It's gonna be epic.
I am. It would. God, you don't even know. I'd quit work for a week. I'd just rewatch it.
Yeah, I would watch it for sure.
Because
I am-
because Also, the number of people that have helped me look for it, too. I even had somebody be like, "Man, there's like so." Contacted some folks in the movie industry, and while they couldn't find it, they're like, "There's some weird stuff missing here." And I was like, "Right?" And they're like, "I mean, it doesn't mean that it's a thing." I was like, "But what's missing?" They're like, "I mean, I can't explain it. I mean, either I'm not allowed to have access to it, or something's gone." I was like, "Right."
So it begs the question. So I subscribe to the theory about the alternate timeline thing. Like something happens and changes, like the Bearstein Bears thing. Bearstein. Butterfly effect. What's the word I'm looking for? Mandela effect.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. I subscribe to the theory of the Mandela effect, where one or more timelines cross, and at that cross, you pick up parts of their timeline, and they pick up parts of yours, and the Mandela effect takes into play. And I feel like maybe this is one of those Mandela effect things, but we're one of the few that picked up on this one. You see what I'm saying?
You know, I had someone suggest to me too, because she actually remembered seeing it, the documentary, and she was like, I wonder, and weirdly, because I don't know how I feel about that. But she was like, you might be picking up on an alternate self. I was like, but you saw it. She's like, yeah, I did, but I don't remember the name. I was like, neither do I, but that's not the point. The name of it didn't matter at the time. What was on it mattered.
Yeah.
And, but she remembered seeing it too. And that was the first time I had found somebody that was like, oh no, yeah, no, I remember seeing that. I was like, where do I find it? She's like, I haven't seen it since 2019. I'm like, I love you and hate you.
It seems like everybody that knows about it just barely knows about it.
Well, yeah, because you watch it and then it was only on for that season, and then it was gone.
Yeah,
it was on for 6 months. It was available on streaming for 6 months, and then it was never seen from again, including it was the second season of a documentary series, and that whole documentary series disappeared off it. Not just that season, the whole thing was off of it, and they quit production. That was it.
It
never to be found.
It sounds like a Mandela effect to me. Just saying. We need to find that guy that has the cell phone that sees in the alternate dimension. Have you seen that guy?
Mm-mm.
He's got like dude's got like a BlackBerry, and he'll look at like videos of like the Bearstein Bears, and when he pulls up, like he'll be holding his phone, right? So he's holding his phone, looking at a BlackBerry, and he'll look at the screen and be like, "Oh, this is the Bearstein Bears," but then he'll hold up his BlackBerry, and through the BlackBerry, you see the Bearstein Bears.
Oh, really?
But then he moves the BlackBerry and it's Bearstein. BlackBerry Bearstein. No BlackBerry Bearstein.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's really weird. So I have seen a great number of this guy's videos, and I don't know if he's faking it. I don't know how he's doing it. If it's not something supernatural that we can't explain, touching onto other timelines, if it's not that, then this guy is practicing and rehearsing to a T.
With the video on the phone, so it looks like it comes across the TV at the same time.
I can't imagine the amount of rehearsal it would take to make that work. I can't see somebody doing that and not getting paid for it. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
I mean, if I was getting paid for it, I would make it work overnight.
Right.
You know what I mean? But dude's just posting videos on TikTok or wherever. But anywho, uh, that brings us to what we're doing next week. Rapid fire.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So there should be lots of good things to go through on there.
Oh my gosh. Get ready for moon landing conspiracies.
You got a bunch of those?
Oh my gosh. The Instagram algorithm finally kicked in for me, and every third video I sent to the podcast Instagram is fake moon landing video. So be ready. There's a lot. And I think this week I finally found the one video that's going to change your mind.
Okay.
Dude's got a video of the last like 30 seconds of footage filmed on the moon. And for some reason, dude is filming his feet like he's trying to turn off the camera.
Mm-hmm.
And at his feet is a rock.
Mm-hmm.
The shadow of his person is straight ahead.
Mm-hmm.
And 2 foot away from his feet is a rock with the shadow at 90 degrees.
Huh. All right.
On the moon.
Okay.
So,
well,
be ready.
I already agreed with you that I thought that there at least was a propaganda campaign of fake videos, of extra footage.
Yeah.
Right? Not made on the moon, at the very least. I still think we went.
There was,
but I don't disagree that the landing stuff and some of the videography was fake.
Yeah.
So I think it was to our advantage to just flood the media with we went to the moon, we're on the moon, we did it before you, Russia.
Yeah. The trend now is people are picking apart the original moon landing video.
Mm-hmm.
And my new favorite video is the video of the lander taking off from the moon and the camera watching it take off. And we've all seen it.
Mm-hmm.
But who's filming the lander taking off?
You know, that's a good question. I have often wondered that. I've never heard a good explanation for it.
The official statement is it was a remote controlled camera controlled from Earth to the moon, but he perfectly timed the ascent
lift off
perfectly timed it with like a 17-second delay. But then on the flip side of that coin was we've got a lander that landed on the moon 6 months ago, and the live footage is terrible.
Right.
But in the 60s, we had phenomenal footage live from the moon.
Yeah, that's true.
So
yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I've seen that video, and I've often, I had wondered about that.
It's a little too easy to
Very
explain.
good footage.
Yeah,
The lander taking off.
I mean,
Very good footage.
Either dude got really lucky or it was fake.
Yeah.
It seems like a once in a lifetime shot, and dude just happened to be right at the right timing to catch it moving upward. I don't know. We'll see it next week. So, give you a little something to think about while you're not sleeping tonight.
I don't sleep. Sleep's for chumps.
Yeah. I was just telling my wife about this the other day. I was like, she's like, how do you deal with so little sleep? I was like, it's like that line in the MCU where they ask Bruce Banner, how do you turn into the Hulk so easily? He says, because I'm always angry. And in the span of like a half a second, he turns around and turns into the Incredible Hulk because he's always angry.
Right.
Well, it's because I'm always tired. Yeah. That's how I sleep. So, all right, we're gonna get out of here. Do you want to see if we've got one viewer? Do you want to see if we got anybody you want to raid?
Yeah, sure, you can look.
We can raid. Do you want to take us out with some closing statements, good sir?
Sure. I mean, so I can remember as a very small kid thinking that dinosaurs must exist somewhere still. Right? As a little kid, because I wanted it to be true. Same with the Ninja Turtles. I thought that that was entirely possible. 4-year-old me thought that that was entirely possible. That while they may not be ninjas, I thought they were probably some very large turtles walking around in the sewers of New York, because I had read a thing about a giant goldfish being found in the sewers, which they had assumed, and alligators and things like that. Things that I think turned out not to be the case, or at least they said later those were fake stories. But I think that but even still, just because at 4 I thought Ninja Turtles existed, I don't think that means that you can say everything that I think is false. And so on that same note, just because the guy in this story was crazy, or one of the guys in the story was crazy, doesn't mean everybody was. And it also doesn't mean that lady's story is false. And I think that while you do need to take, firsthand accounts with a grain of salt, because memory is fallible, I do still believe that when people tell a story like this, for some people it's because they want the notoriety and the fame. But more often than not, people reporting UFO stories, they don't get the kind of fame or notoriety that anybody would want. And there's a lot of strange in this world. I and you are bear witnesses directly, even previous to the show, to some of the strangeness in the world, and things that are not explainable, and things that can't be reckoned with facts and logic alone. And if facts and logic alone aren't explaining the things that you're seeing, and the things that you know, and the things that your lived experience tells you, then you should follow us.
Beyond the shadows.
Good
Good
night,
everybody. We're gonna raid Holdenators Ho. It's one of the guys from Beyond, or not Beyond the Shadows. It's one of the guys from last podcast on the left.
Oh yeah, okay.
I've been listening to them for years. We're gonna see what happens. They probably won't even acknowledge us, but that's okay. We'll see what they say. We'll see you guys later. Here we go.
A creature like that, how would it ever die?
And this monster starts running right at me.
Annihilated by nuclear bombs.
Beast is not dead. I put 4 bullets into him.
Oh, you're crazy.
But I saw that monster too. All I want is for someone to believe me.
Contaminated.
Face. Horrible. Look like it would scare you to death.
All right, let's get to work.
Beyond the shadows.